After a year of racing, a journey that started in January, it all comes down to this. We welcome you to race day here at T4 Kartplex in Palmetto, Florida, and the final round of the 2026 ROK Cup USA Florida Winter Tour. For our producers, Jason Larea, Brandon Hacker, alongside Jason Ewers, my name is Jackson Lambro. So happy to have you with us one more time here in this edition of the Florida Winter Tour. Jason, we've got some tickets to give away and some very close championship battles ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun to watch, especially that ROK Master shifter class right now. I mean, it's who wins is who wins,
right? Which
is going to be fun to watch and see. So as you can, right now for regular KZ, Cry pretty much has it wrapped up. So we're going to focus our call pretty much a lot on that ROK shifter master.
For your shifter masters and super masters, same to be said about the KZs, or excuse me, the VLRs. The Masters and Super Masters, they've got a free ticket to ROK Vegas on the line should they clinch the title. And for all of your junior and senior divisions, as well as the minis and micros, it's an opportunity to fly to Lonato and South Garda Karting and play for the ROK Super Final just a couple weeks before we return here for Vegas. Here's how they line up then. James Andres on pole. They'll be alongside the Burrell D2 Motors machine of Joe Alves. Then it's Dominic Karai again, was out with a mechanical in the pre-final, which shocked us a little bit. Actually, Joe Alves, I think, just going for a spin there as well in turn 11.
Yeah, we should mention that we had some weather that came in last night. Like, it was warm up this morning, was wet.
Yep.
And everyone was on wet, so you can still see the track.
Absolutely.
Pretty damp out there outside the line, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. You can see the shifters just all over the place right there, so good thing that they're going to be able to hopefully rip off some laps and pull up some water out of this track, but I think that some of these guys are on wets as well. I'm looking right there at Sketchy.
It's like Warren Von Tuck, I believe, also having that. Another look at your starting grid here, left-hand side of your screen. Cole Matthewson, Juan Esteban Oniga Martinez, Sketchy Barnes, Morton Von Tuck, Fernando Sanchez, Hector Campos. As Parasotes were testing the limits here in warm-up. A couple guys just trying to do some precautionary warm-ups in these conditions. And although there's obviously four-wheel braking, it is going to be difficult in these conditions if it's as greasy as it looks on track.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with rain racing karting, when there's rubber on the track and there's water on top of that rubber, it becomes like a sheet of ice. So the ideal situation, when you go around the corners, you stay out of the rubber and you cut across the rubber to stay on as much unrubbered track as you possibly can. So you'll see some very odd racing lines. Don't think that there's something wrong with the driver. That's just how you kind of attack a wet track.
James Andres had a phenomenal weekend to this point. He's been rewarded with a pole position to his name for the final round here in KZ. But ready to go here across 7 different classes, and tickets set to be given away for ROK Vegas, for our Masters and Super Masters, but for all other divisions, again, an opportunity to go to South Garda in Lonato and make your name in the ROK Cup Super Finals just a couple weeks before we return to the Rio at the end of the year. Joe Alves pulls himself in, and that will indeed be one more lap. And
Alves
Joe
was
Alves,
late. Was it because he looped it over there?
Looped it, I believe, in turn 11, yeah.
Yeah, you can't have these. They don't have internal water pumps, so when they sit there at the line and not rotating that rear wheel, working that water motor, you can heat those motors up quite a bit. So that's why you don't have a lot of time to sit there and sit still. So good call by the starting official right there. Get him going. One more lap. Hey, another opportunity to drive the track off with one more lap and go from there. But yeah, a really good run for Andres here. Like, impressive. He's even with Dominic, in full form and full song yesterday and on Friday, he was there challenging.
Really, really impressive drive. The 2022 club champion out here in Florida. Was an ARP champion, looking for his first title since 2022. Cole Matthewson on rain tires. We're hearing from our producer,
Sketchy's
Sketchy.
on slicks.
So going to be a very interesting split in strategy. Both of these guys gambling. And for two of our championship contenders in Shifter Masters, what is going to be the right choice there?
It's going to be interesting because the start is going to be, yeah, Matthewson's definitely on, but he's starting behind him. Sketchy last second rolls over. Matthewson's going to get a rocket launch. And as the track wears and dries off, those rubber or those rain tires are going to wear pretty quick. So hopefully the gamble's going to pay off. Gamble's a ticket getting punched, so we know who wins. So I like it.
Lights coming on the top left of your screen, and we are underway in KZ. Slow start for James Andres. Now gets it going. Alves trying to loop it around the outside into turn number 1.
All four of those guys have slicks on. There it is. New Masterson is going to be able to get that start.
Sketchy Barnes very deep. I think that was Morten Von Tak able to tiptoe on through. Might have been Juan Martinez. But look at the crawl right now for some of these guys working out of the hairpin.
Yeah, and you watch Cole. He'll put that part in puddles to cool those rain tires off. So it's going to be a fun run to see. He's already caught the KZ guys who are all on slicks. And as many carts that he can put between him and Sketchy is going to be, look at this right here. Just trying to work his way
goodness,
through.
look at this. Cole Matthewson trying the inside. I believe that's Joe Alves.
He went around
in the 421.
He went around Alves, and I think he also went around Karai on that. So whoever chose right now wet tires, great decision, but it's going to probably turn around and bite you in about 5 minutes.
Uh-oh, slap of the dash here. One of the Ralph Schumacher carts is that Morten Von Tak out with the mechanical. We'll have to wait and see. Cole Matthewson all the way up into third overall. I want to say that might have been Matthew Sanford or Hernando Sanchez having issues further back. It was certainly one of the BTM machines. I'm not entirely sure who. Here we go. James Andres trying to hunt down the competition. And that shift looks to be interesting.
Yeah. Looked like he went to go grab a shift, and his lever just pulled back.
Oh, boy.
Nothing there. There's Matthewson right there, just working his way through. Already up to second.
That is, yeah, it is. So that's second place overall. And we saw some guys coming out in wet tires earlier, anticipating the worst. But so far, in terms of strategy, the Rocket Racing Man has made the perfect call, keeping it slick.
A lot of time left. I mean, he did exactly what he needed to do, and probably realized that as the race progresses, Sketchy's going to get faster and faster and faster.
Right.
And he needs to put as many carts between him and Sketchy as he possibly can. He's done that right now. There's one more cart that's in his vision, and that's James Andres. Let's see if he can work his way around to catch him. But James is doing a great job on slicks, on wet track conditions. That building at 2.5 seconds. That maybe has shrunk a little bit right there, if that is. It is.
You can see how much the lines are different right now. You're seeing Cole Matthewson go so low in turn 11, just trying to find any place. He's really able to find the right patch of asphalt. Lap number 2, and it definitely seems like Cole Matthewson is reeling him in. Last time by 53.420 for James Andres, a 52.60 for Cole Matthewson. And that LN cart, your fastest man on track.
Yeah, what a decision to go that way. I mean, I don't know if that was a decision they had at the grid, seeing what Sketchy was going to do. And at the last second, we're just going to do the opposite and kind of roll the dice. But great team management there, and we'll see if it pays off with almost 10 minutes to go.
You can see Dominic Karai a little bit further back, just how much he was struggling. I don't know if you saw, but he was wrestling with that wheel, getting back on the loud pedal. But all of a sudden, you look at this further back, Joe Alves starting to come to life here in that 421. He makes a move on Gavin Ibby and tries to set sail. Lap number 2. How's the lap times looking now? 51.533 for Andres, 52.480 for Cole Matthewson. Could we start to be seeing that crossover point now?
The line's starting to dry out a little bit, and also as you get going, the tire temperatures come up as well. That's just allowing you to get a little more confidence in the car. But you can still see Cole still a little loose with green tires on. So that just hats off to Andres to be able to manage a shifter with that much power and turn down lap times like that on split.
Juan Esteban Unigaro Martinez out. He was the one we saw in turn one with the shifter knob issues, and then Edgardo Ortiz we just saw in the Praga kart, the
IndyCar.
Also notable Kart Republic team for Super Nationals. So Edgardo Ortiz, though, further back in P11, you just saw him get the blue flag in the lime green suit, but you can start to see the difference and just how much these alternate tires are coming into life right now. James Andres, your fastest on track right now, clear by nearly a second and a half on the remainder of the competition.
Skitchy's times and Cole's time, 52 last time, Skitchy's 52.4. So Skitchy's getting 55 last 2 laps ago. So Skitchy's getting faster, faster, faster.
Looking for Rocket Race. Looking for Rocket Racing's first national title. We look a little bit further back. Gavin Ibby continues to go to work on that Maranello kart and try and put a move on Dominic Karai. Cole Matthewson, another set of laps coming up. 52.252 for Matthewson. Barnes to the line. It's taken a little bit longer than maybe we expected to get there, but he is still not fighting the pace of 52.326. So still a tenth off of pace there, viewers, and I think even if that comes to life, it's got to come really, really quick because he's still got 4 or 5 karts he's got to overtake even to get to Matthewson.
Absolutely, and he's also 12 seconds behind Matthewson right now. So, I mean, you can do the math. Equal lap times with the guy you're trying to beat. You know, you're not going to cover up that 12 seconds. So he's going to have to make a substantial amount of time up here. Like you said, get around some slower traffic that he's going to have to battle with. And, you know, the problem is it's a one-groove track right now. It's not like you're going to be able to drive down on the inside, especially on slicks.
Again, important to mention as well, significant amount of moisture and rainfall last night has done a very good job of resetting this track in a handful of ways. And we're seeing that effect right now with the shifters. But once we get back over to the single speeds, especially with our 125s on deck, that can make things very interesting coming up for GP and SV.
Yeah, you can see that the gap from the leader over on the left-hand side. So Andres is very comfortable with a 9-second lead there. And then you're looking at Skitchy, 21 seconds. So there was that 12-second difference between Cole and Skitchy. That's what we're kind of looking at right there for that championship, for that ROK Masters class.
We just saw a little bit further back. That's the Maranello, the 442. Black, white, and red machine of Gavin Ibby able to make another move on Dominic Karai. Still no bones about it. Dominic Karai has this championship essentially locked in KZP2. And your opener in Orlando on the podium, or excuse me, won in round number 2 in Orlando.
Yeah, you can see that time. That's 3-second difference between Skitchy and Cole.
And both of them have caught Cole here. And let's see if Ibby is able to make quick work, or if Karai's able to make the most of this now slower traffic. Look at this. Karai trying to go for a 2 for down low in turn 11. He's got it. Ibby and Matthewson down by the way of Dominic Karai.
I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to be significant gap different than Skitchy. So Cole is 16. That gap is now down to 6 seconds.
And the Jaws music starts to play.
Yeah, you can see Skitchy going into the 180 down there as Cole is coming out. Yeah, this is going to be, as much as I hate to say it, good gamble, sitting down.
We'll have to wait and see. He's got 5.5 minutes and 2 laps to see if that Rocket Racing machine can stay out in front. But man, the Jaws music certainly starting to play. Skitchy Barnes, the beast from the Bahamas, the full-time fisher, spending as much time on land in a go-kart as possible, trying to track down one of the top guys in Rocket Racing Company. But the fight is very much on as well for P2. James Andres running away with it. But Dominic Karai and Gavin Ibby continue to duel for P2. Trouble one part around further back. Edgardo Ortiz in the 7.
That gap is 3 seconds between Cole and Skitchy.
Essentially chopped in half in a lap.
Yeah, so next lap, you can see him right there.
Oh, you just saw it in the back of your picture. And the going is going to get good. Joe Alves still splitting the difference between the two of them. But this is going to be very interesting to see how quick Skitchy's going to be able to make moves, clear that barrel of Joe Alves, and get to Cole Matthewson. Here they are, Matthewson, Alves, then Barnes, and who else further back but Morn Von Tak. Alves trying to clear Matthewson to the inside, put them on a league of their own. It was a little bit too deep in the barrel. Matthewson needs this cover from the VTM machine. But look at this, Skitchy Barnes around the outside on the exit, just not able to lay the power down. And this duel will continue. And just behind the South African, the head honcho of VTM Motors, Morn Von Tak, is on the scene in the 68. For Ralph Schumacher kart, the top Supermaster. Another championship lock in your Supermasters. Looking to go out on top and beat the younger guys. Here comes Skitchy Barnes again, down low in turn number 10, trying to cross him up on the exit. This is going to last at least another lap. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Matthewson trying to cover from Joe Alves, trying to lay out that KZ power. A little bit of a look further back from Morn Von Tak as well. Nobody able to make moves just yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know what 3 minutes on a treadmill feels like, imagine that time right now for Cole Matthewson is going to be just brutal.
Still fending off. And Alves is taking off. Here's the move for the lead, maybe for the championship. Scott Skitchy Barnes to the inside will take the lead over Cole Matthewson. Morn Von Tak trying to go with him. Gets the power down, and Matthewson loses this lead. Puts Skitchy Barnes out in the front.
I mean, he's got to be careful because Sanford's right back there. So, I mean, Matthewson's got a legit possibility, not even podium.
We'll have to wait and see just how long these tires can last. But for Morn Von Tak, he wants to be the top of the old guys. He's been given this golden opportunity, and he's been hunting it all season long. Looks down low in turn number 2. Not able to get there, but Barnes knows he's there. You see him covering down low, trying to park that Maranello on the apex. So it's a lead in class, but this is far from over.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing right now Matthews can hope for is they get a little dicey up there and ends up taking out Skitchy. But hopefully, he's smart enough to know that they guys have a championship draft. Maybe he doesn't know that it's so important for Skitchy that he has to beat Cole to be able to get the win. But right there you go around. Hey, Cole just dropped another spot.
Skitchy Barnes coming into this weekend at 1,214 points. Cole Matthewson at 1,159. So as long as Barnes stays in front of Matthewson just the way he has this entire weekend, he will indeed be riding to Rock Vegas for free. It is looking good. If he's not able to make that, just like our second and third place drivers, they will be eligible for a Rock wildcard entry. That will be essentially a free ride to any of the Rock Canada Championship rounds, Rock Vegas, or Rock Sonoma, or any of the Florida Winter Tour rounds next season. And that'll be a free entry as well as perishables, so sets of Levanto tires, E&I oil, as well as Sunoco fuel on the house. 1 minute to go on the clock. Morn Von Tak, the big guy from Australia, still trying to hunt down Scott Skitchy Barnes.
Very impressive run for Morn. We really haven't talked about it too much. Running with the Masters guys. And maybe he likes the looser conditions, the kart. He's more comfortable with it. I think that's why, we talked about how grippy this track is. We talked about how it's important for him to get this driving. With a little bit of rubber off the track, wetter conditions, the kart's a little freer. So great job from Morn, trying to get for the whole Masters victory here, put himself on top of the podium, overall win for Rock Masters. But good job for him right now. Matheson is going to get off the podium.
James Andres gonna take victory in KZ. Look at this, another look there. Turn 2, Morten von Tock has continued to snoop down low in turn number 2. And what a win. This could be, Joe Alves. And a major Code Brown moment there for Morten von Tock. Sketchy Barnes trying to work their way through. And Alves, who has had a troublesome weekend, to say the least, will lock in essentially that P4 position in KZ. Timer hits 0. It'll be the Twin Sticks this time by. And James Andres in a league of his own. But Morten von Tock trying to be on top and put a Super Masters over the Masters. Marinello versus RS. Matthew Sanford further up ahead, fully clear now of Cole Matthewson. Looking like he is battling, and no, Fernando Sanchez in the TB car. The other DTM entry was indeed able to clear Cole Matthewson. Shallow there. You see Morn on entry, just finding any way he can maybe claw through right now.
Yeah, just trying to get that car to launch as much as it can. Great job by both these guys, going out in wet conditions, battling through it, knowing the track is going to dry itself out, and unfortunately cold opposite.
One in the helmet for Sketchy Barnes, who doesn't know how back Matthew Stanford truly is. He wants more to work with them. I don't think there's any intentions for him to go and do that. But the white flag is out. That's how far ahead James Andres is. You saw it on the left-hand side of the screen. Karai put a purple lap in, 44.9, and then Andres immediately able to respond. James Andres with a 44.439 is nearly half a second up from the competition. But down in ROK shifter, Morten von Tock. One more lap, one more set of opportunities to try and clear. Sketchy Barnes, another look into turn 2, not able to get there. Edgardo Ortiz spun earlier, will go outside, not play any dramatics in this battle, but the checkered flag is out. James Andres, your winner, and Dominic Karai, your champion in KZ. But for Scott Barnes, the go-kart racer on land, the full-time fisherman, the captain for Hakuna Matata Tours, doing everything he can to fend him off. He has put every wheel perfect, not just this weekend, but this season. He's one of the best on land in sea. His name is Scott Barnes. We call him Sketchy. He's your Florida Winter Tour champ in ROK Master Shifter. Morten von Tock dominates in Supermasters, will take victory and the championship for VTM. And domination out in front, a big shake of the hands from Morten and Sketch. And what a phenomenal way to wrap up this tour for Shifter.
Yeah, great job for Sketchy again. You know, team management out there, track management, able to work out, going out on slicks, knowing the track is going to dry out, and it still hasn't dried out. It's starting to dry out now, but that's just going to determine everyone else for the rest of the day. You know, slick racing on tires for the rest of the day now. So good job for those guys. James Andres continued to do what he's been doing all week, putting down some fast laps. Purple last lap for him as well. So good job for that team.
So James Andres getting the first win of 2026, and Dominic Karai is Lonato bound for the ROK Super Final. And look at this, the burn down from James Andres. A deserving battle.
That's Sketchy.
That's Sketchy burning it down. Another Marinello. 2 victories for the Marinello Kart program, 1 in KZ and 1 in Supermaster, Master with Sketchy. Sketchy Barnes, a no-show for us at ROK Vegas. You can only hope he's going to be able to continue. But just like that, we are ready to go for our premier class, ROK SV Senior. And boy, what a story it's been, not just this entire season, but going into this weekend. Caden McQueen, Alan Isambard splitting the series. Round number 1, it was Alan Isambard winning the victories on Sunday after Caden McQueen looked so strong at the start of the season. It was McQueen essentially sweeping all the heats and Isambard taking victory on Sunday, round number 2. When we came back to Orlando, essentially the exact same, just the other way around, as that looks like, I believe, trouble for Blake Nash. But we'll have to wait and see. But this weekend, the man who's been waiting in the wings this entire season, Chase Gassiet-Lee for Bennick, has looked incredibly strong. And while he's been out in front, it's been Isambard and McQueen dueling further back. And obviously, as we mentioned yesterday, the rivalry between them reached a boiling point. Both of them making contact with one another. And from the back of the field, they will have to fight. And now with the phenomenal running of Chase Gassiet-Lee, not a single session where he hasn't been in P1, whoever of those three essentially is the fastest on track, the first to get to the checkered flag, they're going to win this championship.
Yeah, it's definitely tightened up a little bit, especially with the issues between Isambard and McQueen that we had in the pre-qualifier starting in the back of the pack. So it's going to be fun to watch them work their way up through, hopefully cleanly. And we'll just find out in 14+2 who's going to be the winner.
We'll have to wait and see. On the back row, Caden McQueen, Alan Isambard, and Chase Gassiet-Lee for Bennick. All three drivers trying to put their team on top for the first time in SV Pro. We're green for the final time in SV. Great start around the outside. I want to say that's the RPM. Oh my gosh, everybody deep. Look at that. Handful of drivers. Isambard able to go through. I think Chase Gassiet-Lee was able to successfully clear him as well. But we're staying clean and green. 3 karts wide, 1 big time through. That might have been Caden McQueen who went back out on the racetrack. That was through turn number 6. But no, what's happened to Chase Gassiet-Lee? He's dropped back significantly as well.
The track is not, the outside line is still wet. So there's one line going on right now, and they're trying to go out, and what they've been doing, and there's just no grip out there right now. So it's going to be a 1-lane track for a while until they can start blowing this thing off. And good run right there. Who is that on top?
It's a Nash out in front. That is Levi Sangera first to the line, and Victor de Alencar trying to get there. And for Chase Gassiet-Lee, unfortunately, a nightmare start. Drops back to 11, and crucially, Alan Isambard is P6 on track.
Caden McQueen's P12.
He was the one, I believe, that cut through earlier on. But again, this track is still wet, and certainly anything could happen. But very quickly, it is a whole new ballgame. 2 karts tangled further back. Who is that? That could be 2 of our biggest championship contenders. It's not Caden McQueen. It's one of the Rocket Racing cars. Could that be Alan Isambard?
No, it's Venegas.
Oh my goodness.
Woo. We got a little
heartbreak for the Colombian, but the championship hopes are going to stay for the American. Big slide, ramping over the curbs, Victor de Alencar. And Alan Isambard, your fastest man on track, P6, behind Jose Halpin.
Yeah, with the incidents that they had yesterday, they both Hint and McQueen are on brand new chassis. So, incident didn't look like it was that bad to be able to fold a couple chassis, but they were folded. So they were out this morning, warm-up sessions, just to check and shake everything down. But obviously, they've got that cart dialed in for Isambard since he just went purple with a 44.490.
Caden McQueen trying to hit his stride as well from P10 with still more than 10 minutes of racing action. Look to the inside. Wyatt Downing having such a rough weekend, almost unable to finish a lap. On Friday, he finds himself provisionally on the podium, trying to get Norbert Karting Academy just their 2nd podium on the tour. As further up ahead, Victor de Alencar, where Evolution continues to hunt down. That's a big look from one of the RPM machines. That's Jose Halpin. We've talked about how silent this weekend the Cosmics of RPM have really been, or RPG, excuse me. But the Rollison Performance Group finally coming to life just when they need to.
Man, the jump that Isambard gets out of turn 11 is just incredible. Just able to get that cart moving and back to where he loves to make his moves going into 1.
Here he goes again. Moving that 305 of Wyatt Downing out of the way. No contact between them, but forces the outside. Just like that, a podium for Alan Isambard could be in the carts.
The Allen card is purple right there. That curb hopping with 43.624.
Caden McQueen further back up into P9. as well. And that could be a big-time implication for your championships as well. But with Alan Isambard in P5, he finds himself 50 points clear currently as they run of both Chase Gassiet-Lee and Caden McQueen.
Hey, did we ever figure out what happened to Chase there at the beginning?
I think just went deep on the brakes and went wide. You saw a couple of guys go deep, Davin Roberts being one of them. And almost the same thing there into turn number one. Again, we lost all of that rubber set in as early as Thursday morning in practice. And it has very much been ground zero. You still had guys going out on wets. I don't think that's been the case this time by. But suddenly, Chase Gassiet-Lee has figured something out. He goes purple in the 43-411. And crucially as well, we mentioned opportunities and how much points are going to be at a premium and how much you need to maximize your point output when you can. They got 5 for the pole position on Friday. They'll get an extra 5 here for the fastest lap.
Yeah, with as tight as it is, that's crucial points. The Allen car is all over the back of Sangera.
He wants this win. He looks to the inside. Alan Isambard trying to make a move on Jose Helfin. And after a troublesome start starting in the back of the pack, Alan Isambard back onto the podium.
What a way to work his way up. It helps that several carts went off, but great job for him to work his way out. Had a great start. Now he has his eyes set on the Allen car and Sangera.
9 minutes on the clock, but this is not over. You see this 3-pack right here. Davin Roberts, Wyatt Downing, Chase Gassiet-Lee is right there in 7th place. That Bennick has had the purple lap. He's come back to life after a tremendous mistake on the start. Is he able to make a move? He tries to go to the inside of Davin Roberts. He covers, trying to make a move on Robert Downing. Both of them trying to go through with the GFC. That's a done deal for both of them. That GFC going to drop back a handful of positions. But look at that purple lap now for Caden McQueen, nearly half a second clear of this field in front of him.
That is an amazing lap. He found something out. If he can continue duplicating those laps, he's going to be right up there and be challenging maybe Isambard, not just for a podium, but also for the overall win.
He's there right now, and we talked about it. First Friday going into round number 1. He's won races in America before. He said he needs to have that difference. He wants to plant that flag firmly here in American soil and be the guy to win championships for Velocity Racing in Saudi. They see the group they're building here with Mateus Morgado and Schefter, Colin Lloyd in 100. He wants to be their guy in the water-cooled in the 125s. And a Viking comeback here from the back of the field could be exactly what could put him on the map. You could say the same for Chase Gassiet-Lee and Team Bennick, the group out of Miami. So good in the cadets, still looking for that opportunity in the full size, and has signed Chase Gassiet-Lee on from Nash Motorsports, not just as a driver, but as a full-time coach, full-time mentor for the cadets. And a win here for either of these guys could be monumentous. Back to the front, Levi Sangera, Victor de Alencar. Both of these guys as well looking for their first wins of the tour.
Yeah, I thought Isambard was going to be able to close up a little bit quicker, but 3/10 faster that last lap for Isambard. It's not going to take too long. A lot of time left to go in this race. As we're working our way through, McQueen still holds the fastest lap of the race with 43.06. Chase Gassiet-Lee working his way through, but now you're an equal drivers who's about running the exact same lap time. So Isambard only has 2 carts in front of him right now. This should close the gap down. 43.3s, 43.1 for Isambard. Davin Roberts.
Alencar trying to cross him up here. Is the inside line there on exit? Not yet. Isambard a little bit on an archipelago. Still the fastest lap going to Caden McQueen. Levi Sangera, Canadian-born, losing this spot to Victor de Alencar. Evolution in OTK out in front for the first time this weekend.
Yep. I was wondering when that line was going to kind of come in, and Alencar was like, I'm going to try this out. And there it is, made it stick.
So a swap from your 2. And the Canadian-born Brit, is he going to be able to hold on in that Nash Motorsports machine, your second leader of the afternoon, doing everything he can. Caden McQueen and Wyatt Downing moving up on Jose Helfin. That Rollison Performance Group machine dropping down to P8. Same to be said for Wrigley Keys, who had a phenomenal start, continues to drop back as well. But the Duel indeed is on. The gaps now on the left-hand side of your screen. Fastest lap on track still belongs to Caden McQueen. And if we keep that to the point of the checker, that could be crucial points all the way to the end here.
Because he's only 3 behind Isambard, but Isambard is closing that gap pretty quick to on the leaders. 1.1 last time by the stripes. See where he's at here.
McQueen 6th. A little bit of a look there from Sangera. McQueen 6th, Isambard 3rd, and it's Chase Gassiet-Lee in 5th. Still as they run right now. 17.95 for Isambard, 17.73 for Caden McQueen.
Is that with the 5 points for the fast lap?
Yep.
17.70, or that is with the 5 points, okay.
And a move on Chase Gassiet-Lee in front will, simply put, not be enough to do it, even with the fastest lap. This is genuinely going to come down to the wire. But Victor de Alencar out in front for Evolution, continuing to not just lead, but put that gap on the Nash Motorsports machine of Levi Sangera.
Yeah, Isambard's not gaining on that top duo at all right now, so we got to see what's going to happen here. I mean, Caden McQueen is not out of this. He's only a second and a half behind Davin Roberts. So if Isambard ends up 3rd and McQueen ends up 4th, what happens?
Ooh, we'll have to double check on that. Alan Isambard is indeed trying to get up to this duel right in front of him. But as they run right now with McQueen getting the fastest lap, 17.92 for McQueen, 17.95 for Alan Isambard by the narrowest of margins.
So he has to come in front of Isambard.
Not mandatory. Again, he came in still today with the lead of the points. But Isambard being in front on track right now and having Roberts and Gassiet-Lee between them is helping.
But if McQueen ends up 4th, what is that? Because right now McQueen just went purple again at 42.882.
If Isambard stays in P3, Caden McQueen finishes 2nd. Chase Gassiet-Lee finishes 5th. Then McQueen will be able to walk away with your championship.
All right, I'm curious. But right now, Isambard took about a half a second off of that gap between him and Sangera. So he's making a strong push to get to the front.
But again, if Isambard is able to catch these two in front of him, and if they continue to battle.
And McQueen just got around Gassiet-Lee.
It did. Oh my goodness.
So now he's got Davin Roberts in his sight about a second ahead. And with McQueen consistently putting purple laps up.
This could be huge. When the clock is on, that Ryan Perry Motorsports machine next on the menu in the form of Davin Roberts. And a little bit further back, you've got Alan Isambard. And a move here on Levi Sangera or Victor de Alencar could be huge in pushing that bar a little bit further forward. But all 3 of your championship contenders, 2 had their move back done in the form of mistakes yesterday. Chase Gassiet-Lee, it happened turn 1 of this main event. But all of them doing a phenomenal job to move forward in the field. 2 minutes on the clock in 2 laps. And Alan Isambard is right there with him. And we talked about how huge of a victory this was for Rocket Racing in Master Shifter.
That would be so huge.
It would be colossal.
To win SV.
The premier class here.
Man, Isambard.
And Alan Isambard looking for his first title since 2023. And broke his first drought, his first victory since 2024, excuse me.
McQueen just went purple again that last one.
So he is reeling in.
7/10 now. Oof, this is going to be
as they run on track right now.
Finishing.
Simply put, if Alan Isambard is able to make this move on Levi Sangera, he will be covered. But if this is supposed to be a double, what happens if Caden McQueen gets a move on Davin Roberts? We'll have to wait and see. But Levi Sangera has found Alan Isambard to the rear bumper. 1 minute on the clock. Isambard running. He's pointing forward. Sangera fending off to the outside, but Isambard through. And the boulder's going to roll back to the bottom of the hill for Chase Gassiet-Lee and Caden McQueen. P2 for the Rocket Racing driver.
McQueen is right all over the back of Roberts right now. So that just kind of according effect to everybody right there with that move. That allowed the Allen car to keep about a 10 to 15 part lead. I'm not sure if there's enough time for Isambard to get up there and get around. We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Here.
This is certainly going to be 3 laps, though. He'll get there just before the line, and this is going to be good.
We need to keep an eye on that 4th and 5th spot.
Absolutely. Caden McQueen, Davin Roberts, and simply put, this is a move that needs to be done for Caden McQueen.
Do you think Caden knows this in his head where he needs to be?
I don't think so. I think he just knows he needs to make moves, period, and drive forward. I don't know if there's that level of urgency. What a drive as well for Victor de Alencar, former driver for Rollison Performance Group, but the full-time coach and driver, one of the biggest names for Evolution Kart School. And what could simply put be a colossal duel, a colossal victory for this small group here based in Palmetto. But the twin sticks coming out. Caden McQueen trying to pedal on Davin Roberts. Chase Gassiet-Lee not too far behind. But if they run the way they do right now, Alan Isambard is going to steal it. And Victor de Alencar might clear him. How much does Isambard want to take the lead maybe? Does he want to go out on a win? Does he even want to risk that? Levi Sangera, you saw him try and point him by. I don't think he wants to play any spoilers and maybe ruin a championship run. He's happy running where he is. And can Caden McQueen close that gap? It seems out of reach.
Yeah, I mean, Sangera is a little slower than Roberts right now. The only thing he can hope is that Roberts ends up slowing up Sangera, and or Sangera ends up slowing up Roberts, and that's going to allow McQueen to catch up to them. But right now, going in,
Davin Roberts, this could give McQueen a chance. Nearly contact there between McQueen and Roberts, and just like that, Caden McQueen is on the scene. Is this going to be enough points? Here's a look to the inside. Where does this put Caden McQueen? Could this be the move that keeps his championship hopes alive? He moves up into P4. I think he's gonna need 3rd. Gassiet-Lee going through. He's up into 5th.
still has purple lap 2, McQueen does.
We'll have to double check the championships, but as they run right now, Victor de Alencar out of turn 13. He'll take victory in Palmetto, and Alan Isambard, your champion in SP Pro.
Wow. That got intense. Woo! We got
Still need to do the points.
numbers.
Still need to do the points calculations here. But it is halation for Victor de Alencar. Monster trucking it over the curbs, and you know what it means for this small team. Levi Sangera also coming in as a one-off entry.
Yeah, and whatever we report as points, by the way, is not official points.
No.
We're just kind of give you the laydown from what we are trying to figure out here.
Still need to check, and of course, all penalties and tech pending. But as they stand right now, Alan Isambard and Rocket Racing are your champions in the first championship for ROK SV Senior. Oh my goodness, though. Victor de Alencar, have yourself a Sunday. And the Florida native, the full-time coach, the part-time driver, formerly with Rollison Performance Group, has not tasted victory like this since 2024. And he'll find himself on the top step of the podium among some of the stiffest competition in North America.
Yeah, and hats off to OTK, ROK, and Vortex for bringing a great program to this Florida Winter Tour. Tested it in Vegas. It was awesome. And it just really shows how great a racing and puts it back on the teams, puts it back on the drivers, and takes that worry of having the best engine that you could possibly have out of the equation. So it made for some of the best racing we've seen all Florida Winter Tour.
Absolutely. Need a second to catch our breaths here. But there he is, Alan Isambard, your champion.
Oh yeah, they kind of went up. Yeah, I got it. Who hit him? Who hit him? I know, it's on camera. I know, I mean, I'm just following. I get it. I get it. And my screen is this big, and there's the sun on it. So sometimes they're like, follow car 301. I'm like, you know, you can barely see the numbers when they're moving. I get it. You're looking.
Ready to go in ROK GP Junior. Tristan Murphy and Josh Bergman are on the front row.
I understand.
3 drivers in the contention. We'll tell you about it after we take the green flag for the final time in ROK GP Junior. Good start from Josh Bergman. Can he roll it to the outside? No, Nico Orbezo able to get through down low in that Iron Rock OTK. He'll slot in P3. Bergman in P2, but it looks like your leader, Tristan Murphy, in the 211.
Yeah, and this is another one of these very tight classes that we have for the overall championship. And you want to give us a little breakdown on that, Jackson?
Josh Bergman in second, unfortunately, or excuse me, yes, second place in the 222 is out of contention right now. Your main contenders, Nico Katowski, Nico Orbezo, and Tristan Murphy. And for Tristan Murphy, really came into this weekend out of contention, but simply put, has put together a stellar weekend. Third in Heat 2, and then has been in the top part of the pylon pretty much every single time we've seen him afterwards. He's almost even with Nico Orbezo, but Katowski's still your leader, 1486 for the Burrell Art driver in P4. Then Nico Orbezo in second, with Tristan Murphy in third as they run right now. Oh, look at this. Josh Bergman trying to taste victory for the first time in the tour. This will bunch everybody up. Where does Orbezo go? He chucks it down low. He's trying to lock in his championship. He works his way down into P2, but Bergman...
Katowski, the second right there, snuck his way through.
Bergman losing the lead pretty much. Down to P4. Everybody sliding. Monster truck in there is Katowski. And look at this. Bergman looking for an opportunity. Big shot there to Nico Orbezo. And this gives Tristan Murphy the chance to run away with it.
Wow. What a change of events there in about 4 corners. Katowski went from second to fourth. That according effect brought the rest of the group back up. So now you got Fazzari, Stiles, and Spirico all together in this group.
This bunches everybody up as they run right now. Nico Katowski, still your championship leader, but it took that move. He needs to be in the top 3 right now, plain and simple. Where does fourth potentially put him? That could actually drop him. It does as they run right now. Nico Katowski needs to make this move on Josh Bergman, or it will be Tristan Murphy getting the victory and getting the championship for Ryan Perry Motorsports.
And plus, Tristan has purple lap right now, so that's the +5.
Extra 5 for insurance, absolutely. Seeing one kart retired here. That is the 317. That's from the heat previous. We'll have to check in on that. One of our only retirements of the day so far. But again, we've seen it on track here. The dueling out in front, whether it was Bergman trying to make it 3 wide, Katowski monster trucking right here on the outside of the curbing. That has bunched everybody back up. You see Marco Fazzari, purple and white REM machine just there. Clayton Stiles, Achilles Superco. It is anybody's ball game here with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, Katowski worked his way around Bergman, so that puts Katowski up to third, which is where he kind of needs to be. But the two people that trail him in the points, the two people that lead him on track right now.
1946 for Katowski, 1943 for Tristan Murphy. That's without the fastest lap. But for Nico Orbezo, he's got the purple lap right now. He's the one pushing Tristan Murphy to give themselves a little bit of insurance. This could be the driver who's holding the fate of this championship. He takes a look to the inside for Iron Rock Motorsports and OTK. He's trying to lead this thing to get the championship. Murphy able to go along the outside and defend for the time being. He's not out of the woods yet. Good launch for Orbezo down low. Can he hold this lead through turn number 5? Nico Orbezo to the lead for the first time. But you're making that hand gesture, Jason. This is grouping everybody up again.
Yeah, and that just makes Katowski very, very, very happy right now. Back in that game.
All the way back once again to Marco Frizzari. And where does this move our championship picture? Orbezo in the lead. Murphy down into second. Matter of fact, that'll put Katowski as your championship leader now. Everybody bunched up. Any takers? Into turn 1, not yet.
But Orbezo has purple lap right now. So that's +5. So that's Orbezo to the top.
Without the purple lap, it's 1946 to 1945 Katowski over Orbezo. Both are GP classes, folks. The narrowest of margin. Here's a move. Katowski down low nearly puts Tristan Murphy into the grass. And that'll allow Murphy to slot back in, I believe, P4. Katowski moves on up into second.
But he's got Bergman all over the back of him right now.
Duel we've seen
all weekend long.
All weekend long here. Throughout the opener in Orlando. Things have started to separate a little bit. Katowski knows it. He defends from Bergman, but 8/10 now the gap. Orbezo starting to run away into the open blue.
Yeah, hopefully Katowski doesn't keep, if he's smart, you don't know. Maybe he wants to defend a little bit here, keep that second spot, knowing that he's got the championship locked up.
He needs it.
And just kind of let Orbezo just run away with it right now. But Orbezo at that purple lap, I don't know if he's thinking about the +5 for being the fast lap of the race. So, yeah, I'd hate to see that be the difference. But good run right now for Orbezo. But right now, purple went back to Tristan Murphy.
Murphy will not hesitate to make that move again should he find the rear bumper of Nico Katowski. But the question is, does Josh Bergman know where he's at in the standings? Will he potentially strike? He's more busy right now fending off from Murphy and Frizzari, though. And this is giving Katowski a little bit more breathing room. Murphy trying to send it deep. Turn number 10 will get there. And once again, your top 3 in the championship are first, second, and third. But can Tristan Murphy close that gap?
Where Bergman loves to make a move. Didn't do it there. I thought for sure he was going to try to stick that nose out. Didn't make it stick. Working his way through turn 3. Still, track has some wet conditions.
Absolutely.
On it. You can see some offline wet puddles still.
So Murphy up into third. And even with the fastest lap, this will go to Nico Katowski as they run right now.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye out on that gap. Looks like visually, from what I can see, Katowski's closing that gap down to Orbezo. 7/10 last time by. Half a second now, so definitely a little bit quicker. See who went purple there. Katowski purple that last lap.
And that gives him insurance as well.
A little bit of padding.
Extra 5 points. But all 3, pretty much all 5 of these cars now equidistant from one another. And how much is Orbezo starting now to feel the heat?
Starting to fade a little bit. You can, see how fast Katowski's closing in on it. Is Orbezo fading, or is Katowski just getting faster?
Certainly feels like maybe a combination of both. Obviously, Orbezo not getting that advantage of the draft like Murphy behind. But Katowski right there on the bumper of Nico Orbezo.
Yeah, it definitely could be a little column A.
Absolutely. But the question is, can Nico Katowski make this move? We've seen it a handful of times already. And crucially, Tristan Murphy has joined this battle as well, as all three of your contenders are now clear of Josh Bergman and Marco Frizzari with 5.5 minutes on the clock. Tristan Murphy needs to make moves to lock this one down. It is genuinely anyone's game.
Storybook finish right here. You can't, and Tristan just went purple that last lap as well, so the fast points just keep bouncing around between that top three, which is incredibly crucial 5 points.
Absolutely. But all three of these guys absolutely bunched up bumper to bumper to bumper. And Tristan Murphy, we talked about Rocket Racing being part of a national championship. You could say the same for Ryan Perry Motorsports. Small tent, this Florida Winter Tour just himself. And I believe Darren Kidd, a handful of seasons, or a handful of championships. Tristan Murphy, obviously, long tenured driver for Ryan, based out of the Carolinas. But this could be a huge victory for Ryan Perry Motorsports and for P1 Engines. It could be a big run here for Nico Katowski. All over the bumper. We've seen the late move into turn number 1. Katowski waits another corner. That gives Tristan Murphy yet another opportunity to close the gap here into the hairpin.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you right now, Katowski will feel a lot more comfortable having Obeyza between him and Murphy. And Murphy still holds the fastest lap of the race.
Even if Murphy makes this move right now as they stand, it's going to come down to the purple lap between Katowski and Orbezo. Actually, no. Katowski will still have that point free of a fastest lap by a singular championship point over Nico Orbezo. We talk about close margins. We saw it earlier, SV Senior. We moved over to the juniors, and it has become the exact same. Josh Bergman further back, still trying to claw his way into contention here. But both him and Marco Frizzari.
Right there for Katowski really hurt him going off in 4 and 5. And that really allowed Murphy to kind of catch up on the back tail of Katowski.
That's giving Orbezo just a smidge more cushion between the tool, between the duel behind.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because you're kind of throwing into the wind how much air pressure you're going to go out with. You know the track doesn't have the grip that it's had, so you're seeing some of the cars that were fast earlier and higher air pressure kind of start to fade a little bit as those tires just build up too much pressure and too much heat. I'm kind of wondering if maybe Murphy went out with lower air pressure, these cars just finally starting to come in.
Are the pressures something you change, though, in reaction to the moisture on track? Give yourself a slightly bigger footprint.
I would, with the way the track is, especially if you've got to work your way through the outside, knowing that there's a little bit less grip because there still could be some moisture out there. I would personally definitely go up with higher air pressure and being able to block on the end of the race to keep my position. But we'll see what's going on here. But right when I say that, Katowski makes a great run, gets through, has an opportunity to make a pass at the end, stays in line, decides not to chance it.
Here we go, turn 2, Nico Katowski up into the lead. Orbezo going to patch it up for P2. Tristan Murphy not able to get on by. That championship gap to the remainder is going to grow for the Trinity Karting Group driver in the Burrell Art.
I mean,
oh, look at this, Tristan Murphy, turn number 7. Is he able to get there? He needs to clear to get to Katowski, and he has. 2 minutes on the clock, and Tristan Murphy trying to swing back into 10 and 11, tries the crossover into 12. Can he get there? No, but that is an expensive, expensive move between Katowski and Murphy. What is this gap going to be when we come back to the stripe? Nearly a whole second now for Katowski to try and build that gap, and Murphy to try and take P2 back.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what Nico wants to see behind him. Those guys battling, and also you got to worry about Bergman's back in play right now. Because of that battling that was happening between Orbezo and Murphy, and Katowski just got a nice little comfortable 10-12 kart length right now. Just keep it smooth. And you're going to punch your ticket.
First, second, third in the championship, the exact same order as it was and when we dropped the green flag.
Nico's purple again, so that'll even pad his lead more.
Cool under pressure. And for Tristan Murphy, who looked to be so much on the rise this weekend, has found himself once again behind that Iron Rock machine of Orbezo. And just like that, the 222 is on the scene again. Josh Bergman and that Kart Republic. Chase Jones has found something for that young British-American driver to try and fight for the podium. And if they continue to battle, who knows, Marco Fazzari just waiting in the wings as well. Good exit here for Tristan Murphy as we work our way out of turn 11 into the Indies.
Ready to go at this.
And here we go.
Something happened to
lead. Nico
Katowski.
Orbezo, what's going on in Nico Katowski? Tristan Murphy trying to go with him into turn number 1. Can he go all the way? No, he'll patch it up in P2. This will immediately bring Josh Bergman into the mix as well, but Nico Katowski back out in front. Can Tristan Murphy now work his way through that Pirelli? Or what on earth happened on exit for Katowski?
I have no idea what happened there. He had a 10-kart lead going into 11. I have no clue. Did he just go off track somewhere?
Plain and simple, we have been left speechless in this broadcast booth. And the good news is, still as they run, it will be Katowski in the lead. But if this drops down to P3, if Tristan Murphy can make that move, it is going to be bad news bears. 1981 versus 1872, excuse me. 1881 versus 1872. And simply put, Tristan Murphy needs to be out in front to make this happen.
What's the situation if Murphy gets around Katowski?
I don't think fastest lap is going to be a factor, but if Murphy gets it through to Katowski, Orbezo is going to be your championship.
Or is
that's
that
not
Murphy?
Bergman, that's Murphy. Right there. And here we go. You saw the twin sticks this time by. They battled all weekend long. They've reached the lap that matters. Katowski defending down low. Murphy going with him. Bergman trying to cross him up. This has brought Marco Fazzari back into the mix as well. Look further back, the REM. But Orbezo clear into the open blue. He has done all he can to win this race, but his championship is in the fate of Nico Katowski and Tristan Murphy. Murphy trying to go down low. Bergman giving him a shove into turn number 7. But Katowski with a little bit of breathing room. They'll both take a look down low into turn number 10. Still doing anything they can to make a move, but a phenomenal exit could be exactly what Nico Katowski needs. Checkered flag is out. Nico Orbezo's gonna win on Sunday. But the other Nico Katowski, takes the championship in ROK GP Junior. Woo!
Man, making that interesting.
Another championship battle down to the wire.
Man, Nico gave me a heart attack. I don't know how they closed the gap on him that quick. I didn't get a chance to see what happened right there.
They celebrated a huge anniversary for Nico, his little brother Jack. Their first 2 years in karts. And they celebrated with Nico's first win at the national level 2 months later. A first championship at the national level and a ticket punched to the ROK Super Final.
Yeah.
Racing against some of the best in the world.
And really hats off to Tristan Murphy, too. What a gallant effort to put yourself into the chance to even have an opportunity to punch that card. But great run. They made it fun for us as announcers to be able to talk about this, but we got the 1 minute to go.
All of this, of course, championship points pending. But as they stand right now, Nico Katowski, your champion in GP Junior. And little brother Nico looking to do, or excuse me, Jack trying to do just the same in ROK Micro when we come back. Here we go, ROK Micro out on track, and Jack Katowski on the front row alongside Emmett Dalton, Braxton Shiflett, Romeo Ferrante will be just alongside with Caden Darmani, Enzo Botero, Leo Yankelwitz, Sam Avila, Cohen Scott, and Marko Micevic rounding out your top 10. All but locked up here in the championship for Jack Katowski. He's 200 points clear of Romeo Ferrante. But as we have seen so far this season, anything can happen. Trying to bring this field down to a crawl, and we will indeed do it one more time. Well, you can see some moisture kind of throw up there. The entry to turn number 1, you saw the cloud almost develop as soon as they came into the entry. That's what caught so many of your SV drivers off guard coming into turn 1 for the first time. And now it'll be the cadets' turn to try and manage the exact same thing.
How does camera 1 look?
Jack Katowski again looking to lock things down this weekend, but it has been Emmett Dalton all weekend long, plain and simple. No stranger to this track, has ran a handful of regionals here, and obviously a club member driving here for the past 2 years. He knows the track well. He's got a phenomenal Florida-based team in the form of Velocity Racing by Sodi. And he's looking to have a little bit of fun as Jack Katowski on the inside in that Burrell looks to lock this championship up and work his way to Italy just like his brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm just coming back. I wanted to go out there and talk to Nico, find out what happened. It's like track's wet, and he got a little into the wet, got out of the gray, and the cart got real loose, and he was able to control it. But yeah, talk to Daddy Katowski too. It was a bunch of
has to check the blood pressure after that one.
Yep. Now he's got to watch. At least he could be a little more comfortable here watching Jack, who's got this pretty much in control.
We saw the moisture pop up on the entrance of turn number 1 as well. You can still see it just on the entrance there. That is going to make things interesting. These cadets going to try and manage it for the first time. But we've got the green in ROK Micro. Dalton immediately covering down low. Katowski still has the door open. He'll try to shimmy on through. One card up and over the 24. Caden Armani. 3 get collected.
21.
Aria Denehauer, Scarlett Stash, and I think Franco Schiavo all get tangled with one another.
That's
but out
Botero,
in front, no, Enzo
4.
Botero. Top 10 in the championship, came in P6, and a comeback drive is out of the cards for that Orsilon Tony kart. But Jack Katowski able to hang it low into turn number 1, and for what feels like the first time this weekend, take the lead over Emmett Dalton.
Yeah, Dalton went low and then swung high, and Katowski just stayed low and had the preferred line going into there. I was a little concerned about how many carts were going so wide in there, considering there's still some moisture outside, but we saw a little bit of gathering of carts right there. But pushing a little bit there.
Leo Yankelwitz in the 6th, the D2 Motors machine. We haven't talked about too much. 2 more collected
Yankelwitz
further
again.
back. It might have been Yankelwitz, and I think making contact with Sam Avila. That might have been Romeo Ferrante, though, in the OTK. We'll have to wait and see. Is there a Tony kart coming into view? Or did our 3rd place driver in the championship get collected? No, Braxton Shiflett and Sam Avila involved. And the kid who has been so strong, one of the top rising talents for Ryan Norberg and GFC, has his Sunday chances end early on lap number 2, but the battle is on. Out in front, Jack Katowski, Fraternity Karting Group, and Burrell are trying to build this gap. But the Venom helmet, the Velocity Racing Sodi, is in chase with Emmett Dalton.
It's so cool to see Dalton when he tucks down. All you see is the Venom helmet poke out with the 2 eyes. It's very intimidating. But yeah, Jack Katowski's doing a great job right now. Comfortable knowing he really doesn't have much to lose here. Just finished the race.
We talk so much about the older drivers really flying the flag for not just TKG. Obviously, Gavin Bailiff and the Shifters, and the phenomenal staff, both in Sodi Kart and at Burrell Art. But Alex Searle, the entire group of coaches at Velocity Racing by Sodi, have been doing a phenomenal job in building the next generation of karters, the next generation of racers Emmett Dalton, this entire weekend, has shown the fruits of the hard labor the Orange and Chrome have put in at this track, week in, week out. And he is right there on Katowski. But this is not a win or lose for Katowski to work his way to Italy and win this championship. He's got to be clear of Romeo Ferrante and just keep it on the black stuff and off the green stuff. He's done a phenomenal job of that all weekend long. A mechanical DNF. Failed to even get him off the grid for heat number 3, but all of that aside, he has been phenomenal. Right on the tracks of Dalton. For the first time now, he finds himself ahead of the Saudi.
They're all pretty well spaced out right now. The closest battle is for this lead between Dalton and Katowski. Also have back there between Schiavo and Scott. Cohen Scott's a name we haven't talked about too much this season. So good run for Cohen up there, sitting in 4th, just outside, 3 seconds behind Ferrante for that final step on the podium.
Eight minutes to go on the clock. These two already 2.5 seconds clear of the pack behind. Here's the move we've been waiting for. Emmett Dalton on the inside. Is there enough momentum? He has the nose ahead before he gets there. Katowski immediately slots back in P2. And Emmett Dalton with a textbook maneuver gets that Velocity Sodi up into the lead. Almost thought it was a phenomenal effort as well for Liam Yankelwitz, who's been in the top 10 this entire weekend as well. He's, or top 5, I should say. He got it going again. He's P9 on track now. But the number 6 looked really strong as well. Has been running with us this entire season. So a lot of guys getting the opportunity to kind of charge to the front here. Franco Schiavo trying to do the same. A little bit of a look to the inside for Katowski, not just in 2, but tried it again in 3. Yeah. That was a real shallow entry, though, both corners.
Just probably seeing what's there. I mean, having some fun, knowing that you got the championship wrapped up. Don't put that thing in a position that it can
absolutely
at all. So just be smart. Might as well make it a family trip to Italy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great job for that whole 2KG team. It's been fun watching them at the beginning of last year. It was my first time really kind of being involved in the Florida Winter Tour, and then watching them grow every single race. And just really being
cool.
One of the teams to beat this season, and definitely with the junior and the micro classes. So hats off to Sean Bailiff and that team, and that's what we need. Younger kids coming into the sport.
Absolutely.
Do it the right way. Learn through it. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody in this country that probably will get a good Kartplex with the Cowboys.
Absolutely. And again, we talked about that variability both the brothers have, right? Someone in the booth helping them get into shifters as well here. Something that could potentially be also shown at the national level in a couple seasons once we get them in rock shifters. We'll have to wait and see. But Jack Katowski and Nico. Nico, I still think a handful of years away from him getting senior eligibility.
Yeah.
But both of these guys showing a ton of hard work. Again, both of them based with TKG and Rel Art out in Ohio. I think we've gotten into easily quadruple digit laps from both of them out in Batavia.
Yeah, one of the beautiful tracks around.
Absolutely.
In the Midwest, get out there on that track. Absolutely.
Got to call a couple club races for them over the season for Sean. Hopefully we'll be going out at some point this year, but
yeah, it's a great time. Michelle does a great job.
Absolutely.
Always some theme going on.
Yep.
Last year during Cinco de Mayo, which was a great time. My wife actually came over from Indianapolis, and I told her that was going on because she wanted to experience that, and it was such a good time. But as we're talking about that, now Jack looks like he's got himself back in striking distance here as we're working our way with less than 5 minutes to go. See if he's going to poke out on turn 1. Nope, decides to stick in behind. Maybe he's just going to play a little follow the leader here for the rest of this race and not sweat it. Take the easy pass if Dalton happens to shoot it down.
Only 3 retirements so far, none of them mechanical. Scarlett Stash, Isaac Denehauer, and Sam Avila all collected in that opening lap crash. But everybody else continuing to run. It's Dalton still over Katowski, Romeo Ferrante, Cohen Scott further back, and the 29 continuing to duel with Franco Chievo. Chase Solman as well there in the in P6. Caden Armani also solid running. I think he might have had a little bit of involvement in that opening lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he had a great opportunity to run up there, at least attempt to fight for a podium spot. But, you know, the front two here are just kind of playing follow the leader. I'm not sure what battles we have going on in the back of the field there. I'm looking at the timing this morning. It looks like between Damani and Nikolitz, that's a pretty tight battle right there. Dolman's got a pretty good gap. Nikolitz has got that less than a tenth. Shiflett, see if he can do anything. He's got a battle of his own between him and Marco. Pretty evenly spread out throughout the track. Normally you see some great little pack battles.
Absolutely.
With these guys, but hats off to Dalton and Katowski for not really wanting to battle too much and do what you need to do in these karts and get that gap, and then 2 laps to go and then gloves off, let's fight it out.
Essentially, all Katowski really needs to do here is bring it home. I believe even with a technical DNF right now, finishing in P13 or P14, a win from Romeo Ferrante would not be enough to close that gap. So Katowski continuing to study the back of that Saudi. Further back. But as I say that, Emmett Dalton actually looking to, looks like he's actually taken off just a little bit more.
A little bit there. Yeah, it's basically victory laps right now for Katowski. Not sure how hard
We mentioned it as well, just how bumpy this track is, Jason, and I think there's no better visual here specifically than these cadets. You just see how much that front bumper is moving up and down.
Yeah, because that wheelbase is so much shorter. So
right.
I mean, some of these bumps are so big that the whole entire cart will be. So it's a little bit different than you see the senior carts, which have a longer wheelbase and a little bit more flex in the chassis where you don't see it bouncing. But yeah, it's really kind of amplified it and showed it off today when we were walking the track this morning, and
for sure,
water was on the track, and you could see exactly what it was pulling up at, and really could see the bumps of the track. But you know, I love it. That brings character to tracks. You know, we heard that from day one, talking to the teams. Completely different strategy on how they're going to set their carts up because of the amount of rubber, because of the bumps. You know, it was just kind of fun to just come out here and listen to the strategies, raising chassis, not slamming chassis. Different air pressure, riding sidewalls, not riding sidewalls, types of deals, but the physicality of it too. Longer races today, I think it's really helped out with these guys right now, where it's not so much, it's not that hot right now. Track's not overly grippy because it still has some moisture in it. So you're not fighting that physicalness that you've been fighting all weekend long. And yesterday was a long day for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of laps on this track. You know, 2 heats and a pre-final, and then come out today and you know, refreshed, and all you have is a final today, so you're going to go out there and give it everything you possibly can.
We talked about all the reasons yesterday and how you can lift the cart up a little bit on the wheels, increase the ride height, and obviously the bumps have been a reason. I think the other reason, though, I mean, right here, this little bit of runoff on the short chute between 7 and 8, but especially these curbs on the outside. Once we get out of turn 11 into turn 12, look at this curbing on the outside just at the bottom of your screen. That is a car racing curb on the outside, and simply put, you need the clearance if you want to ride those.
Well, ironically, I was talking to Nico's dad, and because he didn't have his chain guard come in yesterday, because of those bumps, he hit the rumble strips, and it kicked up and it broke his chain protector off, and went up and kicked and took off. Yeah, it was one of the bizarre fluke things that happens. But, oh, we got a cart off.
Oh goodness. Oh, that's Scarlett Stash. That one's been parked, unfortunately, for a while. That was that one of the carts in that 3 driver incident in lap 1, but the twin sticks coming out this time by. Emmett Dalton able to make that move stick.
Little racing right
build
back
that gap
there.
a little bit of a duel a little bit further up ahead. I want to say Case Zolman maybe. Enzo Bertoro and Braxton Schiffer, excuse me. Braxton able to get that GFC going again. Miami native, who again was on the podium in round number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think he just got caught up in that incident at the beginning, and it just, all these carts are so close to each other that 5 seconds behind, you're basically out of it.
I'll say this as well. It's been really cool to see Norberg Karting Academy just in this first season, over the first 3 months of working with GFC, how much they've evolved, right? Because they've built a phenomenal portfolio of not just drivers, but coaches. And really, they've gone from fighting for top 5s, fighting for top 10s, to going for podiums. But the white flag is out, and Emmett Dalton looking to go for the Grand Slam here in Palmetto. Romeo Ferrante in the 81 has done everything he can in second place, but Jack Katowski needs just a couple more corners as well before he punches that ticket and boards the plane with his brother to Italy. But for Emmett Dalton in Velocity Racing by Sodi, the Venom helmet is gonna fly here in Palmetto. A P2 in heat number 1, a victory in heat number 2, and hasn't looked back. A Grand Slam for Emmett Dalton to take victory in ROK Micro, and Jack Katowski is Italy bound in ROK Micro.
Great job for them. I think Jack got his first win earlier this year with us, and then kind of been on a tear.
Both Jack and Nico, round 1.
Yeah, just really been on a tear ever since. So great job for those guys. Love to see it. Some cheers from the moms and dads.
Absolutely,
out
right in
here.
front of us.
Love it.
Big hugs from the Velocity Sodi squad, but even more so for Papa Katowski once again, as he's got one more ticket to book now to get to Lonato. We'll step aside for just a moment when cadet action continues. ROK Mini on deck for the finals here in Palmetto.
swapping batteries.
To the bottom of the cadets we go here with ROK Mini, and it is Dutch Westbrook and Team Bennick finally finding the pace he's been searching for. He's on the outside alongside Nico Salazar, Max Santana, Cooper Lorenzo Lopez, and Caden Caldera. Luke Bullpit was looking really strong yesterday as well. He'll be rolling off in P6. Same to be said with Kimo Ahmed in round 2. But for Vicente Aguilar, he's trying to lock up this championship. He'll try to do so as we go green in ROK Mini. Waved off. We'll try it one more time. Matter of fact, Vicente Aguilar sent to the back of the grid, it looks like, after last race. So we'll be rolling off P13 for that AM Engines machine. Good news for Vicente Aguilar, though, still certainly able to make this move done in terms of points. Came into this weekend nearly 500 clear of P2. And again, that was Aiden Go. Team Paralyn not here this weekend. He had to look back to Nico Salazar, Colton Bruck, and both of those guys as well.
Yeah,
Just
Aguilar and Lopez both had a avoidable contact post-race penalty yesterday.
Believe that would be for what we saw there on the final lap with Lorenzo Lopez going off. Both drivers going off, frankly, but Cooper Lorenzo Lopez pushed back into P3. And Aguilar, a long road ahead of him, will try to go out on top in the ROK Cup World. We'll see if they've got it. We got the green. We do, and for the final time, we're racing in ROK Mini. It's Westbrook with a great start.
Great start for Caldera.
As well for Caldera. Yeah, a couple cars collected. One ramped up over the back. Liam Estalis to the 103. Bautista Pugiles. And the bad weekend, unfortunately, continues for Bautista. He'll continue going as a huge melee further back. Cooper Lorenzo Lopez just able to clear Max Santana and Nico Salazar, the pair of Orsolans.
And Westbrook is just checked out already.
Absolutely. You got Luke Bulpett in the Benek in the mix as well. Kimo Ahmed just a little bit further back in that fellow Velocity Racing Sodi. But who is that unmarked kart cue ball helmet? Middle of the pack. He goes very tight on exit, trying to roll that momentum.
Is that Cladera?
Down to the inside.
No, Cladera.
That's Caldera now going down low. It's Luke Bulpett actually. In the 128 now in P3. We stay clean and green through the first lap. I'm not sure how much these guys are used to working together, but they are very quickly going to need to find something to catch Dutch Westbrook here.
Yeah, Dutch is doing a great job keeping that card out front, keeping it clean, tracks drying off, able to run some different lines, and just really, really fast right now.
Again, we knew the pace was there pretty much all season long. It just kind of felt like he was snake bit, getting tangled with other kids, having his own technical issues. But it looks like the pace is finally there. And Hudson Howard, making his first start of the tour, has the exact same level of pace, that 149 Kart Republic machine for MPG. And Howard driver development working his way forward as well. Just made the move there on Caldera for P8.
Yeah, he had that little issue in that DNF yesterday in the pre-final, then just some vision issues. He just died on him. I went over and talked to him and his dad, and no idea what happened. Obviously, they've got it picked up and ready to go, and Hudson was definitely one of the fastest karts throughout the whole entire weekend. So he's going to make it fun. Aguilar's already up to, what, P5, P6? So that
looks like it.
Those two guys are going to be fun to watch as they work their way through and pick their way through to the lead.
104 of Lorenzo Lopez, Salazar, Bulpett, Santana, Ahmed. There you see the 164 of Vicente Aguilar actually lose a spot as Kimo Ahmed was able to swing back on him. But big freight train here of 5 or 6 karts, all trying to work their way on the podium for the final race of the Florida Winter Tour. Nico Salazar looking to be there for the second time. Cooper Lorenzo Lopez looking to not have a single weekend off it so far. Has looked very strong. That small kart, CRG tent, Siccanetti Racing.
Yeah, what's that gap at the line? It's 1.8. Let's see if we can close that down, or if Westbrook's going to keep that at bay.
It's growing. So nearly 2 seconds clear now of the field is Dutch Westbrook. As looks like Bautista Pugliese, you just saw him there, the 13, the 103, excuse me, parked on the inside of turn number 3.
That's unfortunate, especially not even get a chance to even run some laps.
Yeah.
And finally, you worked so hard and had some pace this weekend. An unfortunate incident right there puts him out of the main.
Small mom and pop tent was running in the top 5 in heat number 3. And again, just not having the luck of the race go his way. So
He's
we'll
a
have
legend
to,
of his own, though.
Oh, absolutely. Without saying a single word.
Everybody
using
knows.
some complexive nonverbals,
Yes.
if you will. But Cooper Lorenzo Lopez, Nico Salazar, another look to the inside right now. Caldera trying to go low on Aguilar into 1 and 2. We've been so used to seeing Aguilar make moves forward. It almost feels like the pace has seemingly died out.
Jackie, you want to explain the difference, like, to our watching viewers and listeners, and they don't know the difference between the micro and the, if you look at it, you're just like, oh my gosh, they look like the exact same thing. Tell them exactly what's the difference
Absolutely.
between the two.
So again, the system is kind of based off of getting a good introduction, not just working your way up from kid karts, whether it's 4-cycle or 2-cycle, but giving yourself a 60cc package that is a solid ramp into full-size karts. And what that means here in America is we see Howard trying to go low on the other Benek. You got the 111 of Ahmed trying to go as well on Aguilar. Not sure if he was able to make that move stick, but they're going back and forth here. But at the core of it is a 60cc air-cooled engine, kind of like a downsized VLR, essentially. And what that means is, oh, big contact further back there. Kimo Ahmed getting into Max Santana. But it's essentially the exact same motor and chassis, just with ROK Micro having less ballast per the regulations, and a slight restrictor, I believe that's in the airbox where they have that. which is actually interesting because I'm not sure if they have that when you know Jack is going to go over. He might be simply put under ROK Mini U10, which is just exact same motor and ballast, but just you know set to 10 and under. A lot of racing in Europe has it like that. It's become a very big thing here, splitting mini and micro between the two cadet classes. Again, just about easing them into the speed here, as well as obviously a fixed sprocket for the micros. So again, all about easing them into the sport, and importantly for parents, drivers, and teams, giving yourself a platform from pretty much age 7 to age 12 that you can grow up on.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's great. And I just get asked all the time, you know, from people who aren't experienced with karting, sees this and they're like, "What is the difference between the
Right.
two?" And you know, the main difference is restrictor, set gear ratio, weight.
Aguilar defending a little bit here from Ken Caldera, and I think it's also important to note no rev limiters on these guys, and that's always what I felt like has made this, especially in the minis, super interesting, especially on the more motor-based tracks.
Like this one?
Yeah, absolutely. It is
screaming down the straightaway.
screaming down the straightaway, and you rewind the clock to some of the longer straightaways we've had. Obviously, Speed Sports last year was one of them. It was drag racing the entire weekend. And just constantly looking for switchbacks, looking to keep the steering wheel as open as possible. And again, it's just teaching the good disciplines of, you know, you can't drive out of mistakes just with your right foot. You need to carry momentum. You need to keep things open, and you need to take your opportunities when you find them. Cooper Lorenzo Lopez losing that spot to Nico Salazar. You got Hudson Howard just further back on the scene as well. And this is second back to fourth, starting to clear.
What happened to Aguilar? He made a way up and bumped all the way back to 7th right now. Howard is on a tear.
Pace has dropped a little bit for Kimo Ahmed.
But
And I think his
hasn't
block
dropped
a little bit. Definitely not Dutch Westbrook. 3.5 seconds now clear of this field.
Unbelievable. And to do that and, you know, all by yourself with nobody to sit and draft with.
Impressive stuff. As we'll go 2 by 2 down the front straightaway. It's starting to heat up. Hudson Howard pushing Cooper Lorenzo Lopez through. Salazar going to go from 2nd to 4th in that corner. And all these guys exchanging positions. The patience has been thrown out the window. They've seen Dutch Westbrook ride off into the sunset. And they'll battle for these bottom 2 steps of the podium.
Yeah, I think barring some mechanical issue for Dutch, it is, like you said, battle for the bottom 2 steps of that podium. And regardless if this is your first race with ROK or if it's you're finishing up the whole series with us, always would love to end a series on a podium.
Absolutely. Vicente Aguilar, one of the few drivers actually looking for a sweep of all 3 in terms of race victories. Jack Katowski was actually looking to do the same as well. Obviously, Sodi looking to foil those plans. Dutch Westbrook and Bennick looking to do exactly the same here with the rocket ship they have built at Bennick.
Yeah, and right there, we didn't talk about it. We had it on screen, but Howard got around Lopez for 2nd place.
Looked like Aguilar further back was able to do the same once again on Kane Caldera. You see him there leading, as well as Max Santana, Valentina Carregas, one of the Goodwood Cartways machines. But you can see the gap there on track. Westbrook just coming out of screen. Then it's Howard, Cooper Lopez, Nico Salazar, Kimo Ahmed. All of these guys going for it for the final step of the podium. Now you get the feeling with just how fast Hudson Howard has been, could he potentially build a gap?
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. Purple still Ahmed sitting back there in 5th with a 46.486, but I mean, everyone's within 2 tenths of each other.
Right.
Fast lap. So that just depends if you got a little extra bump coming out of the corner. That's all you need. So what do you think? If you're 9, 10, 11 years old and you're sitting here, Jackson, and you want to be a professional race car driver, where are you going? How far are you going to sit in karting?
I think we see so many of these drivers at this point making that jump even before 15 or 16. I mean, Alexander Vanchev, a phenomenal example of that, getting victories already at the senior level, was looking really strong on debut in ROK Vegas. And for him, there's already anxiety that he feels like he's too late in making that move up to single-seaters and sports cars. And I'll say this, there is never such a thing as too late. Takuma Sato, a phenomenal example, mainly because he came from motorcycles, and I don't think got into racing until maybe he was 23 or 24. But, I mean, it is genuinely never too late. Sato, handful, 2 full seasons in Formula One, 2 Indy 500 victories as well. And, I mean, especially now with all of these different racing series giving you different opportunities, Racing Prodigy, FKL, no matter where you look, you have different pathways that are open if you're willing to make that move. But I mean, at the earliest now, I mean, USF 2000 Junior, I think, is opening, or USF Juniors, excuse me, is open to drivers, I think, as young as 14 or 13. Rob Howden's going to need to get me double checked on that. But it is never too late. And certainly, maybe never too early, but essentially as soon as you're big enough for a full-size go-kart, maybe a couple of years after, you're going to make that move over.
But how important is that resume, being able to say, I went to Lonato and I ran?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
huge.
To help just kind of catapult your career to that single-seater cars or sports cars or whatever you want to do. And that's why it's so important to come to these events, and especially in the Florida Winter Tour, and do everything you can to win this championship, to get that ticket over there and to perform and really kind of show, you know, and what we could do over here in the States, and we can produce some really good drivers.
You hear from some of the really famous alumni, Kyle Kirkwood, Connor Zilich, Pato Award, some really big drivers, and running in the ROK Super Final and just getting the opportunity to go kart in Europe and compete against, simply put, the best drivers of that age group in the world. It's huge. Kimo Ahmed looking to the inside. Can he clear Salazar? Goes a little bit deep. Salazar going to try around the outside. Good defense from the 128 of Salazar. They'll still go 2 abreast further back, but it'll be costly. They're both eating the dust now of Hudson Howard, Cooper Lorenzo Lopez. But to finish the point, I mean, no, it is one of the most influential things you can do at this point in your young career, especially if you're, you know, still in that cadet or junior division, and getting that opportunity, not even to win, but just to say, I was there. I was able to compete with some of the best in the business. Colossal for the resume.
Yeah, and I think what's also interesting when we hit on this a little bit, even with you know, MPG and some stuff that CKG is going to be doing. Like, really, you're not handing the kids off anymore to the single-seater formulas cars. You're building a program.
You're involved,
and you're going to be involved in running that team as well. And that's just really an awesome ability for us to see, you know, especially for me who's been in this industry for so long, just to see people thinking outside of the box. What can we do to keep these kids in karting? Comfortableness with the teams, with the drivers, with the owners, and really be able to just work your way through and then eventually get to the highest level you can possibly get to.
White flag and the checkered flag out. Dutch Westbrook finds the pace he's been waiting for all season long to take victory, and a Viking comeback from Hudson Howard. Finds himself in P2, and there is the pace that Vicente Aguilar's waiting for. He'll be your champion in ROK Mini, with Max Santana, Luke Bulpett, and Ricky Ramden rounding out your top 10. That's how they'll line up for the final time in ROK Mini. And we move on to our final 3 main events of the tour, with VLR action coming up. Seniors on deck here in Palmetto. And here we go for ROK VLR Senior. We move over to our triad of 100cc air-cooled engines to wrap up our final day of the 18th running of the Florida Winter Tour. Aiden Ingrata for Racing Edge Motorsports on pole. Joaquin Galero Pizarro in the championship hunt. Will be alongside him on row number 1. Victor de Alencar looking to go back-to-back after already taking victory in SV. Colin Lloyd, your championship leader in P4. Santiago Fernandez looking to go out on top. Will come out on P5. Mick Gabriel, Tiziano Rosso for Norberg Karting Academy. Mo Hernandez for D2 Motors. Sebastian Garzone in the Orsalon OTK with Bernal Valverde for Orsalon as well. Will wave the yellow for a waved off start. And we'll go ahead and re-rack them one more time here. Gives us time to fill you in on our championship point standings. And again, Colin Lloyd winning the opening round in Orlando, but in round 2, Cole Anderson getting a little bit of extra help on the wrenches in the form of Chase Hand, and the reward from Norberg, Sonny Cervalli, and GFC, a free entry into round 2, and he used that to quite literally mop the field.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Well, now that we're back to our full 100cc, a little bit more adult karts things. Track's dry. We saw what was happening in the SV class. Offline was extremely still slippery, so this is going to make for some fantastic racing right here. Really looking forward to it. I'm ready to see some great battles.
Colin Lloyd looks to has this one locked up, but it's not over. Joaquin Galero Pizarro in the hunt as well. He's going to need a race victory, and simply put, Colin Lloyd's going to need some bad luck to undo the hard work he's been putting in over the past 2 months. He broke the streak at the start of this season with a victory in Orlando. When was the last time we saw him win a title? And could that all change right here? ROK officials putting Ingrata and company down to an absolute crawl, 26 karts deep in your VLR Senior field. We're ready to crown a champion. Let's punch another ticket to Italy. Let's go racing in VLR Senior. Great start from Pizarro. Trying around the outside into turn number 1. Can he turn that into the inside of turn number 2? Not able to get there. Oh, but barely. Aiden Ingrata clears him.
I like that move on the outside. We saw McQueen do that in SV. Picked up quite a few spots. I think it's a gamble. You're going to pick up spots. You know you're going to lose some spots, but hopefully the net gain is more than what you lose. So we saw that happen right there. Car off track right there. Was able to get his way back in. We walked that. Saw all the chassis scrapes on that concrete, and there's a significant fall off on that extra runoff on that corner right there as you're working your way through 7 and 8. But working our way through lap 1 here.
Ingrata been the one to beat this entire weekend. Going for the Grand Slam and that OTK for Racing Edge Motorsport. Victor de Alencar already has a win under his belt on the day. How huge would it be for the young Floridian and for Evolution to get that victory and sweep in the seniors? Joaquin Galero Pizarro dropping back to P3. Colin Lloyd, Santiago Fernandez behind, and Fernandez said it earlier on, he's willing to give shoves to his AMR friends, the guys he's been club racing with since they were very young. He's willing to give Lloyd a shove here to keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, I mean, just the emotion that the Alencar had winning the SV. Imagine what it's going to be winning this.
Huge.
I mean, it'd be huge. He has got the pace to do it right now. Stay intact there with Ingrata. Those two are kind of gapping the rest of the field. They're enjoying themselves. About a 10-kart length lead over our 937 and our 961 of Colin Lloyd, who is our current points leader.
Yep. And again, looking good right now. Lloyd just one spot behind Pizarro. Mauricio Hernandez started in 7th, has dropped 2 back. He came in as the main guy really to be able to bring this fight to Colin Lloyd, and unfortunately has just not been able to find the pace in that D2 Motors Gillard. So we'll have to hope for maybe a little bit of carnage out in front. But Victor de Alencar, you might argue the opening carnage in SV helped him get to that victory in the 125s, but make no bones about it, in both of these senior classes, he has been in front all weekend long, and Ingrata knows it. You could see him walk the tightrope coming out of turn 3 there, viewers.
Yeah, and I'm just watching the amount of wheel lift that the Alencar has on that Tony kart right there, and it is significant. So 3 wheels up on the road is a lot faster than 4, so he is definitely making that thing work. But see that? Yep. Watch the entry of that, how much wheel lift he's getting. But it's obviously fast for him.
You're always looking to unload that inner rear, but not to the point where it's airborne. Yes, to the point where it's airborne, but just barely. You're able to notice it.
Yeah, there's a point that we're too much wheel lift.
Maybe.
Yeah, and as I'm watching,
look at
right
that
there. I mean, that just tests of how much rubber we have on this track, and it's obviously coming back up. So it's going to make fun to watch the Masters fight through it, and then also our juniors at the end of the day.
Aiden Ingrata, Victor de Alencar, and then Joaquin Golero Pizarro starting to build a gap now on Lloyd and Sandy Fernandez. What's the strat now? If you're Victor de Alencar, do you maybe put the pressure on Aiden Ingrata? It's a second back to Pizarro, but I think you got to wait here, give a shove maybe to Ingrata. That being said, the last thing you want to do is give this guy any more time out in front, because time and time again, we've seen him take off without anybody able to contest him. You saw a little bit further back as well, Mick Gabriel making a move on Sebastian Garzone.
Yeah, we've seen Ingrata just, last half of the race just really almost hit like turbo boosters on that thing and just take off. I don't know if that's going to happen today. I think the Alencar with that win in SV has a lot of momentum going into this. Maybe has figured this track out, figured out his lines in this track. Might be playing a little cat and mouse game right now with Ingrata. Knows that he maybe has the pace to be able to overtake him, but just doesn't want to according affect that and allow that back, the 3 behind him to come in and be a part of that.
Further back, you see the twin pack. Santiago Fernandez, Colin Lloyd just working into the picture, closing that gap on Pizarro. There was the Sodi and the Kalkev OTK working their way into view. And Kalkev, by the way, out of the AM Engines tent this weekend, building their motor, but their own small group right now with Fernandez and family working on the tools. But they have been bumper to bumper since the drop of the green. And the 2 guys out of Miami trying to work together to get themselves on to the podium. Joaquin Pizarro first on the menu.
Yeah, it's going to be a good battle here, showing like really quick here between Fernandez and Lloyd. I think Fernandez has the speed and the pace to get around Lloyd.
Lap number 7, fastest lap. Nobody that we've seen on screen so far. It's the Flying Frenchman for Norberg Karting Academy, Tiziano Rosso, going purple, 43.808. Really 2/10 up from some of these guys we've seen a little bit further back, Pizarro and company.
Yeah, it's kind of names we've talked about, of previous races that we've had here, but just, it's one of those snake bit, like you like to say, getting a couple incidences here.
Oh, look at this.
There it is.
Santiago Fernandez going to the inside and says, it's my turn to lead this little charade.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. You could see him setting it up, kind of figure out what kind of run he was going to get coming out of 13 into 1. And I think he just felt like he had a little bit better run that last time, able to check out. He's been faster through the midsection, so I won't be shocked if he doesn't end up going up and catching up with Pizarro.
We'll have to wait and see. And again, Santiago Fernandez, kind of a surprise from Dad, was ready to hang the helmet up for a good while. And Dad asked if he wanted to do the finale here in Palmetto. He said, I don't know, I haven't driven the track in a while. And I certainly don't want to do it if you're my mechanic. And he said, well, get your old mechanic, get your helmet. And came out here and ran this weekend and has been consistently in the top 5. And again, we always put an asterisk on this is their last race, because we always say that, and then we turn up to Vegas end of the year and they end up finding a ride.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of deal if they're coaching as well or helping with data. But Santiago Fernandez has always been long tenured with this Kalkev program. And is looking to do anything he can to go out on top of the ROK Cup World.
Looks like Ingrata's managed to work his way out to about a half a second lead over the Alencar. It's kind of why we're sitting here watching 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's closest battle on the track.
Got the purple lap last time by 43.698, 2/10 clear of de Alencar. And finally, Aiden Ingrata has gotten into his groove halfway home in your VLR Senior main event. Do you think that's just pressure is getting to where they ought to be?
Yeah, Kart got set in a little bit, ready to go. You get settled in a little bit, you know. The Allen car is coming from, you know, a different engine package. I think he was, you know, amped up, ready to go out first and driving the cart perfectly. And then next thing you know, Ingrata just kind of gets in his groove, his flow state. And we're seeing that lead just slightly build every lap. What, 0.586 last time by.
We'll give a tip of the cap.
0.918 this time. Wow.
We'll give a tip of the cap as well to Esteban Hernandez. I've used that term snake bit a lot. It doesn't feel like anyone has really been hit more than him. The Team Liqui Moly driver working out of Rollison Performance Group's tent, I don't think has even seen the checkered flag for a final so far this season. And that was the case again in the pre-final yesterday. But from last place has gained 11 positions so far and has gotten that Cosmic up into P14. So again, just some really good pace in just this entire season. Has not been able to really show it. But cool to see that kind of small sub-team, if you will, that extension team of RPG, Team Liqui Moly, come up from south of the Panama and run like so many of our South American talents. Joaquin Pizarro, obviously, Sebastian Garzon, who I believe is scheduled to still do a full season in national racing with Orsilon. But Bernal Valverde, Mauricio Hernandez, Daniel Turbe. One of the big things we've seen here as a repeating trend for Florida Winter Tour, what we have seen in terms of international talent, not just coming from South America, but coming from north of the border, running in Kart Stars or ROK Cup Canada. And this man, no exception, 6-time champion, most of those on ROK by Vortex Power. Aiden Ingrata, 1.2 seconds clear of this VLR Senior pack. Four minutes to go, and Victor de Alencar still very much going to be enthused with the podium, and one of his few starts, I believe, to be scheduled this weekend. Still Colin Lloyd behind Santiago Fernandez a little bit further back, but doing everything he can right now to work with Santiago Fernandez and work his way into the picture. Aiden Ingrata doing all he can to build this gap at 1.7 now over to Alencar. Three minutes on the clock, and again, Colin Lloyd pretty much needed to start this weekend to really lock it down. His only real threat in terms of championship to this point has been the tourists. Of course, the minute I say that, Sebastian Garzon, one of his season-long rivals, has been able to pass him as the Colombian gets him for, I believe that is P6 or P5 now on track. Still not anything for him to be too nervous about, as came into this Sunday, I believe, 150 points clear of second place in the standings. That was Mauricio Hernandez and Joaquin Pizarro, both of those guys at around 1,270, and Colin Lloyd at 14-13 right now. So still comfortably in there, essentially doing the math here. Pizarro, if he won, Colin Lloyd, I believe, would have to finish 21st or lower for Pizarro to get the championship. And with 26 karts on track, that's going to be an even taller order of bad luck for Sebastian Garzon, Colin Lloyd, Mick Gabriel, Bernal Valverde. So looking good right now for the Florida native, who has a full season of racing, I believe, on deck. Still trying to balance that out with school. But as soon as summer break hits, we'll be on deck to travel across the nation, like so many of these drivers, with Velocity Racing by Saudi, and do 100cc racing wherever he can.
Yeah, really the battling was the beginning of the race. Everyone's kind of settled themselves in with a minute 30 with the 2 laps to go. Not a lot of close counters right there. We have a couple between Lloyd and I was thinking Gabriel was going to be able to close. He's doing whatever he can to get up there on the back of that tree or that duo right there to see if they can make it a trio. But I think our podium's pretty much locked in here, and just that's off to Ingrata for just laying down lap after lap after lap and just killing it. Still holding purple over there. The Allen car, great run as well. Great run in SB. And then, of course, Pizarro sitting there, making a little bit of interest in the points race here. But, I think Colin probably knows that he's got it wrapped up. Don't do anything stupid. We had an interview with him.
Yep.
I think he kind of said this in his own words, but, just get a good finish.
Trouble for Charles Ropke, the 912, just taking that host driver development Tony Kart into pit lane. Unfortunately, a very quiet weekend for the host driver development tent. Smaller group than normal running out here this tour. But Josh Hott's got a lot of work to get ready for the national season, the national schedule. And the group out of Wisconsin really has their work cut out for them.
Well, I tell you what, there's not a lack of racing.
No.
I mean, I really think from now until probably October, you can race a national event almost every single week.
Pretty much for sure if you tie in regional stuff as well. But in America, in North America especially, you are definitely not going to be starved of kart racing.
No, not at all.
And obviously that's going to be in our numerous championships. If you still want some ROK Cup action south of the border, south of Panama as well, ROK Cup in Colombia, Ecuador, Argentina, and Brazil. Costa Rica as well. And of course our major championships up north in Canada, Kart Stars, as well as ROK Cup Canada and their rock festivals. And of course the recent announcement last weekend of ROK Cup Mexico, the newest nation to start taking deliveries of these Vortex engines. So big news coming up there. Another nation to have a direct feed into ROK Vegas and of course the ROK Super Finals. That'll be exciting, but stay tuned to ROK and Vortex socials, hopefully for more news on that. But Twin Sticks are out in Ingrata, 3.3 seconds clear of Joaquin Galero Pizarro, who has been checked out, almost reminiscent of what we saw with Chase Hand in round number 2. The only difference, though, Santiago Fernandez was at least there with him, but they were mopping. It's the one that matters for Aiden Ingrata. He needs 13 clean laps and will get victory number 3 at the national level this season. His first one on 100cc. And further back, Santiago Fernandez, maybe the last lap he will have in a long time, has found the rear end of Joaquin Galero Pizarro and Victor de Alencar. Alencar not going to be able to turn this into a sweep of the seniors, but will stand on both podiums as they run. And out of turn number 12 and turn 13, Aiden Ingrata puts Racing Edge Motorsports and OTK on top in VLR Senior. Joaquin Galero Pizarro and Victor de Alencar joining him on the podium. And there he is, Colin Lloyd for Velocity Racing in Saudi, your champion in VLR Senior. Colin Lloyd dropping back a little bit further than we expected, but again, able to get it done. Just needed to stay on the black stuff and stay off of the green stuff. And that was exactly what he did. Mick Gabriel a little bit further back than we expected as well. The AEM driver in 7th, William Bouthier. Tiziano Rosso using that strong pace earlier on to improve to P9, with Brunel Valverde rounding out your top 10. We've got 2 to go in the 2026 Florida Winter Tour, and tickets to give away to ROK Vegas when your Masters and Super Masters for VLR take to the track after this. And with that, the crazy old Masters take to the track. VLR Masters and Super Masters out on track. Danilo Romalo and Dan Devereaux on the front row. Laurentiu Mardan and Paul Elefante behind with your pole sitter in Super Masters, Ariel Castro, alongside Jorge Matos, Scott Falcone, Pablo Ceballos Sanchez, and Daniel Canales looking to bring things home in this 10-cart deep field. Both your champion in Masters and Super Masters getting their tickets punched to ride for free to ROK Vegas in October. Let's see as we go green. Oh, trouble at the start. Was that Castro going off? It might have been.
That was Ariel. I hope that didn't bend something, because he hit something really hard right there. And I'm sure that did something to his front end of his car. He just got pushed out from that outside line trying to get down to the inside. Crazy. I tell you what was one of the craziest finishes was yesterday. We didn't see that come. Devereaux came from nowhere to end up P2 overall. So we're going to see if anybody can do anything to stay with Romalo, because he has just been obviously the driver to catch.
Last chance for Laurentiu Mardan to try and make it work. But again, simply put, Romalo has been just like round 2 in Orlando, untouchable. The top dog for D2 Motors. Very close in points with Laurentiu Mardan, both race winners in Orlando.
Yeah,
and
with
two of the biggest names in Masters trying to play for the tie right now. But Mardan, in his own words, has been really throwing the kitchen sink at this techno kart and has not been able to find anything for the Brazilian out in front.
No, and Romalo has just been. What's been more impressive is as the race progresses, he never tops out. Like I think he's every race he's had his fastest lap of the race at the very last lap. Battle right there with Elefante.
I believe that's Dan Devereaux, actually, who's gotten in front. No, Jorge Matos. Ariel Castro still in front. It might have been the sister car for AM Engines. Actually, Jorge Matos. No, that's the two AMs next to each other. Paul showing some nonverbals there for the 758. This is for the bottom step of the podium. You got Devereaux just back there as well. But Romalo has clean air under that D2 Motors machine and starting to build just like the day before and the day before on Larry just behind him.
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating, no matter what you do. But, as Mardan said, too, he's like, Romalo's just fast.
Yep.
I mean, he's just fast. So he's got to probably have an off day, and they got to be on their A game to be able to have a chance to even run with him. Just been such a dominant performance these last couple races. But, hey, back of the field, we've got some great drivers. We're going to have some good battles. Elefante never disappoints right there in the midst of a sandwich between Matos and Devereaux. And we know Dan has no problem with elbowing up and putting some side pods on some carts.
Got Fangs out yesterday to work himself onto the front row. We got to see the onboard from Paul's perspective. And, again, was following Dan into the line. Or, excuse me, Danilo Romalo into the line. And just absolute melee further back that we missed. But Devereaux dropping back from the start. You see him just there now behind Elefante. And both of them trying to chase down Jorge Matos in the 758.
Little Falcone's coming up right there.
Yep.
Working that needle a little bit.
Again, I think it kind of shocked us just how much both the Masters and the Super Masters have been on the needles, especially compared to the juniors, especially to the seniors.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just the added weight on the cart, trying to get it to kind of lunge off the corners, just because your gearing's a little different here, and maybe you think the motor needs a little more bottom end, but it's just because you're kind of geared for the straightaway, so you don't have that rip through the middle of the pack or the track like you normally would have.
Yep.
But, yeah, you're absolutely correct. We've seen these guys on the needles quite a bit over this weekend.
A little bit of a breakaway from the bearskin of Ariel Castro's Jorge Matos, Paul Elefante, and Dan Devereaux still battling for that bottom step of your VLR Master Podium. And Jorge Matos, who really has been kind of in and out this whole season so far, looking to come out with a podium. Not been as much of a problem for Castro in the Super Masters. He's kind of consistently dueled with Falcone, but the Sixter kart for AM Engines getting potentially a big opportunity here in the finale.
Yeah, I tell you what, I just think Castro just loves this track. He's so fast here. Not saying he's not fast everywhere, but just this track just suits his driving style. And there's tracks that are just like that. Some tracks just suit other people's driving styles, and this is obviously one for Castro because yesterday I felt like he was just kind of toying around with some of the guys out there, kind of pointing over to the side and then passing them back. And so definitely has the pace to do what he needs to do. See if he can catch up with Mardan up there. That gap is not that far, 1.8. Had that issue at the start where he did hit something. I don't know what it was. You could see that cart jolt and jump up in the air. Hopefully he didn't do any damage to it. Doesn't seem like he has, but he's got about a 1.8 second gap between him and Mardan.
Was really surprised to see just how much this group has grown. A far cry from when we bookended this championship in Houston a year ago. And I think a large part of growing this field has been obviously the introduction of the Super Masters class. I believe ages 45 and up. How we involve that, aside from the 30 and up for Masters. But what that has done has really helped grow this field, especially when we first involved it in ROK Vegas. 34 carts meeting us in the parking lot for the Rio. And obviously one of the notable guys, Laurentiu Mardan, on the podium there in P2. He's P2 on track as well now.
Yeah, and you can think that guy sitting back there in 7th spot right now for really pushing this class and trying to get that Supermaster class going. I mean, as a Supermaster myself, it's, man, even, I mean, Masters at 35 is a crazy age, thinking that that's a master age. But, you know, there is just such a weird gap in karting, and, you know, unless, you know, you're David Foray, you know, it's really hard to compete. And it's not necessarily the driving ability, it's just the physicalness and the size that you are in your 30s and 40s and 50s compared to what these kids are at 15. You know, I'm not a flexible human being, and I can't let myself flop in a go-kart like these kids do. So, yeah, it's definitely different, and it's fun just to be able to go out there and race. And I love what ROK's doing, joining the two groups together. Makes for great racing. You know, we talked about this, more sports cars types of racing.
Right.
You know, everyone that goes together, you get a chance to have an overall victory, which would be fantastic for the, you know, don't want to say the Super Masters or the lower level of the classes, but really it goes Masters and Super Masters, and the ability to be able to try to go out there and get that overall win.
And we've seen that trend start to be set across the national level. Handful of different series now involving that kind of split of the Masters for an older group of drivers to have their own field of competition. Scott Falcone being a big part in helping promote and grow that division. But it's been very cool to see the hobbyists, after, you know, using this to try and prove themselves, work their way into contention. Yeah,
Fonte tried to stick it in going into 3. Wisely chose to not stick it there, because I don't think that would have ended out well for either one of those guys. But he definitely has the pace to get around Matos, I think. He's just got to be a little patient. Ton of time left in this race. He has way more pace than I believed, and that's going to allow him to maybe get up there and catch up on Ariel Castro. If that's who I'm seeing up, yeah, that is Ariel right there. Okay.
AM Engines did run in ROK Vegas. That was with neither of those drivers, though, that you're seeing on track right now.
Oh,
oh my goodness.
Woo!
Whoa.
Talk about a Code Brown moment.
Yeah, big time save there.
Paul, you may need to change your diaper when you come in.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Code Brown there on track.
Woo.
Big moment into turn number 1. And that, unfortunately, will spread the gap again here between Elefante and Matos. But I think both those drivers are just lucky that they still have someone to battle with.
Man, that was crazy, because he didn't hit anything. I don't know if it was just a grip and just happened to unload the cart at that exact same time. But that was a very scary moment. And Paul was able to kind of gather himself up, and that would be some good in-car camera right there.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens again this time through. No.
He's definitely getting some really high wheel lift, though, going in there. But he went really flat going through 1.
Yep.
Probably trying to get under that rubber so he doesn't. He is just a lot of wheel lift every corner right now, so that kart is super gripped up.
We've said under that rubber a handful of times starting yesterday. Can you just describe to everyone at home what that means?
So you'll see where the darkest part of the track is. That's where all the rubber's laid. So you'll see some of these guys, and you'll see Paul just do it there, where you'll normally put your inside tires kind of on the curbing to get the kart kind of up and out. Now you're putting almost your whole entire half your kart over the curbing to get below that rubber, so your outside tires are in where there's not so much rubber at. And then what we talked about, Mardan, also maybe bringing your cart up the track to where you're straddling the rubber and not put your cart. But the issue then is like what Mardan said yesterday, he had to raise his chassis because they were literally scraping the rubber, slowing the carts down.
And that's just to help free the car a little bit through the corners.
Just get out of the rubber, yeah. I mean, Paul is definitely really stuck through some of the sections there. You can just see the cart.
Chassis binding up a little bit.
Yeah, and he's trying to put it where there's no rubber at, and it's just, you can see how low he goes into that corner to try to get through it. I think probably going into one probably scared him a little bit there, and it loses a little bit of trust in your go-kart, knowing that you can't go into that corner as hard as you want to go into that corner because you're worried that there's a potential opportunity for you to flip.
In a perfect world, your kart being the most dialed in, it almost feels like it's drifting, but it's not, just a little bit ahead of that angle of attack for where it should be going. But that's how you know your kart is rotating well and how it's dialed in.
There's people that drive with the front of a go-kart, and there's people that drive with the rear of a go-kart. I am a very positive front guy. I like a very positive front. And for my 120 or for my 100cc stuff, I like that kart to be able to go in and actually kind of counter steer on the way out.
You want that neutral steer.
Yes. And then with my shifter, I want that thing stuck to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that major inside wheel lift. I want to be able, because you can park that thing, grab a gear, and go. But yeah, it's definitely different styles. And it's different driving style. I've driven on super gripped up tracks and low air pressures, and you're riding that sidewall, and that is not a feeling I like.
But here's the thing. This is not a thing that is necessarily exclusive to karts, because when you graduate to big cars, for a lot of these kids, you're going to have that level of dynamicism from track to track with different levels of abrasion, different levels of grease on track, different levels of grip. And certainly, again, the minute you have suspension, rack and pinion steering, and a seatbelt, you're in a race car, not a go-kart.
Yeah.
But these are still things you have to deal with. Weight transfer, driving off the fronts, managing and driving with the pedals, kart rotation. These are all things that you're still teaching from a very young age that can immediately be applied the minute you jump into Ginetta Juniors, GT3s, ARCA late models. It's all stuff that can immediately be plug and play, but it's all taught on the same grassroots level.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great way to kind of make that analogy, and just how what you learn in karting just kind of translates over to cars as well. You know, granted, we don't have suspension on this, but you know, it's still, you need to know what a kart feels like when it understeers, what it oversteers. You know, weight transfers, like you said. How's my braking? You know, what's it doing to the front of the kart when I'm on the binders? Like, all those things, like you said, translates to just regular racing in general. And then you just kind of have to start learning suspension stuff after that.
I know some guy, I forget his name, I think Matt Verstappen made a comment about
Verstappen?
Yeah, Matt Verstappen for, I think it's Red Bull Racing.
Red Bull, okay.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but he made a comment on karting kind of being to a point of redundancy with the rise of sim racing. And I feel like that's I think obviously sim racing has its place now. And I'm not saying, you know, Lando and Carlos are going to be in a spot where they're, you know, doing what they did this weekend, doing laps at Victoria to get ready for a race weekend in a Formula One car. But for the young drivers, there is still a sense of dynamics, how much a track evolves, how much a kart evolves that hasn't been fully implicated in the virtual world. And as a guy, you yourself have done some sim racing as well, there's a phenomenal amount of work done into tire model, track model, weather, but nothing can sometimes implicate just how much things evolve for your car, for the course over the span of a weekend.
No, there's nothing like being at the track. You can simulate everything you want to simulate and try to get there. And with what they've done to simulators these days is incredible. But, you know, even with like Kart Sim now, you know, a great opportunity to be able to use karting, run the karting tracks that we have here in the States or even over in Europe, and be able to test and tune. And for me, what I loved about simulators is I would just go out and just throw different setups to see what it does to, and that really is what is one of the most amazing things about simulators. And I haven't had the opportunity to do a kart simulator and go in and really start messing around with different aspects of chassis. I know what it's going to do, but when you're out there, sometimes I just want to turn laps and I don't want to do wrenching.
Yeah.
And I just want to go out and turn laps, and I could sit there and do a test and tune day,
right.
But so many other aspects happen in that equation. Like, Newcastle used to change a second and a half throughout the day on testing. Like, you don't know if you're making the right changes or if it's the track changing that's making you faster. And
of course, the difference between crashing in the real life and the virtual world in a kart is writing off a chassis and pressing respawn. Danilo Romalo not having any of those issues this weekend, and certainly didn't need the simulator because he's got that D2 motor dialed in all weekend long. Laurentiu Mardan and Technokart have done everything they can, but Danilo has simply put been the dynamo. Out of turn number 12 and turn 13 for the final time to the twin checkers. Danilo Romalo will take victory in Palmetto and be your champion in ROK VLR Masters. Laurentiu Mardan home in second. Ariel Castro home in third overall. First in the Supermasters, Jorge Matos over Paul Elefante. And Matos will be another AM Engines machine on the podium as well. Elefante, Dan Devereaux, Scott Falcone, Pablo Zavala Sanchez, Andre Isaac, and Daniel Canales rounding out your field of 10. We have got one more final in the 18th edition of the Florida Winter Tour with ROK VLR Juniors. On deck, the curtain call when we come back. Extra spectators here from T4 Kartplex as we bring you in for the final main event of the 2026 Florida Winter Tour. It's ROK VLR Junior on track for the main event, and it's Isaac Malkit on pole position. Santiago Orioli for Velocity Racing Sodi alongside him with Nico Katowski, Nico Orbezo, Darren Kidd, and Tristan Murphy rounding out your third row. Cam Johnson, the Wisconsinner for Nash Motorsports, and Luciano Dalles for Rollison Motorsports just behind, with Dominic Mosanelko and Robert Tronky Jr. rounding out your top 10. Isaac Malkit with a healthy lead here in the championship standings. Gonna need a lot of bad luck going his way to bring this fight to Nico Orbezo and Tristan Murphy. So many Winter Series, but only one has been throughout the Sunshine State, and we've kept it saying it. There is only one Florida Winter Tour, and for the final time, it's green in 2026. Great start from Santiago Orioli, gonna shut the door on Isaac Malkit into the hairpin for the first time. Katowski, I believe, losing a spot as well to Nico Orbezo.
Issue in
and
three
big
right
stack
there.
up further back, 2-3 carts in the hairpin. Christian Damian Nittis, I think, getting involved. Nolan Carney, and maybe Thomas Dew as well. I see a Lando Norris helmet as well. That might have been Marco Romero getting a piece of it as well.
If that's Romero, it's just a bad weekend so far for Romero. But that's what happens when you have an issue and you got to start in the back. Just collateral damage, unfortunately.
Constantly playing.
Two-cart breakaway right here.
Santiago Orioli looking for his first victory of the season. Katowski down low on Orbezo. That's a done deal for P3. And it's the same quartet of rockers we've been talking about all weekend long, whether it's been in GP or in this case VLR. The usual suspects in the form of the two Nikos, Orbezo and Katowski, joined by Sandy Orioli and Isaac Malkit. Further back, big freight train further back, Darren Kidd, Tristan Murphy, Dominic Muselneko, Luciano Dalles, Cole Anderson making 3 positions at the start in that vintage Lotus Tribute livery. And the Canadian for Goodwood Cartways, Robert Tronky Jr. in the top 10. And immediately it's pedaling from Darren Kidd, the Mike Doty racing machine, trying to work his way into the mix. Big block from Orioli into turn number 1, as he knows everybody behind is eager to make a move.
That is going to be some great racing right here. If that's going to if Orioli is going to start blocking this early in the race, this is only going to have the according effect, and we're going to have a big group of karts battling for a podium spot.
Nico Katowski winning the opening round in Orlando. And in his own words, it was a completely different kart when we showed up a month later in February. Isaac Malkit able to take victory relatively comfortably in junior for round number 2.
What's
And
our
we
overall point standings on this one there, Jackson? Like
1580 for Malkit, 1375 for Orbezo. Tristan Murphy in third, 1252. Santiago Orioli might have been a little bit more in that conversation, but again, had a very scary crash in round number 2. Ended Saturday in a sling and ended Sunday in the top 5 in round 1, but has just been ping-ponging throughout the standings, unfortunately.
This is going to heat up to be a barn burner, folks. A lot of pushing. You can see a lot of head snapping.
You've got Darren Kidd in the mix there as well, Dominic Muselneko and Luciano Dalles all the way back pretty much to Cole Anderson and Tronky Jr. now. As you've seen the hardcore blonking from Orioli, it's backed up the entirety of this field. Here comes Isaac Malkit, Katowski trying to go with him. Same with Orbezo. Credit card gap between him, and Orbezo backed out of it. But Orioli loses that lead. That's a big hit. That's one of the Techno karts.
That's Alexander Koji sitting back there in 12.
Kojakov, yeah. The Romanian for Techno kart out earlier, the Lithuanian. Losing that spot in a big hit on the outside of turn number 4.
Looked like he was okay. That's good news.
But here we go. Isaac Malkit to the point. And just like we've seen, whether it was with Romalo before or with Aiden Ingrata before that, they've been able to find a way to break the draft. But is Orioli willing to work with Nico Katowski? Is he going to continue to feed him the bumper and turn these 2 karts into one to maximize that straight line and close that gap?
Yeah, we'll soon see here. Only issue is sometimes that second guy is out to lunch when that third person goes around, because next thing you know, that's going to allow Orbezo to tuck in behind. End up putting Katowski all the way back to 4th or 5th. Kid can even come along with that. we're looking back there. Cam Johnson sitting back at 11th. Chunky's in 10th. Anderson's 9th. Did Cam have a bad start?
I'm not entirely sure. He might have got collected in that starting incident as well. He's dropped back 4 positions to P11. Still the top guy for National Motorsports in this group. But yeah, challenging start as, again, you've got so many guys from the pre-final and the heats who have been unlucky trying to crawl at something here on the start. And Johnson looking to be potentially a victim of that, but still relatively bunched up here. You definitely have Katowski still in striking distance.
Yeah, I think
but this freight train is continuing to grow.
Cam is in that, fell back, yeah, 11th. So in that second trio, you have Cam Johnson, Trunky, and Anderson. I mean, we've seen that according effect group up carts pretty quick. So if I'm sitting back there as Cam or even 10th or 8th spot, man, I'm not sweating it at all because we know that these kids up here battle and they battle hard. And we've seen the according effect quite a few times with them throughout the weekend and actually throughout the whole entire Florida Winter Series. But right now, Malcutt's being pretty smart. Got himself a nice little gap there on Katowski. Katowski's got a good little gap on Orioli. Then you got about a 10-cart length gap back to Orbezo, Kidd, Murphy. Yeah, it's going to end up. Look, Katowski's just like, I need some help. Let's go.
Orioli not able to really provide right now. Big freight train developing a little bit further back, though. Nico Orbezo, Darren Kidd, Tristan Murphy. That's all the way back to the RPG machine, the Costa Rican of Luciano Dales. And if these guys go bumper to bumper, they might be able to actually swallow up that group of Orioli and Katowski just a bit ahead. That's Orbezo now just about to lead them. A little bit further back there, you see Tronky Jr., Cam Johnson, Cole Anderson, and Marco Fazzari. Cole Anderson looking really good as well in round number 1, but just has not been able to really deploy that pace here. But Sacramento native will be set for a season back with Chase Hand at ROK Vegas, or excuse me, ROK Sonoma. We'll see what we can do. Yep, pass for Tristan Murphy down on the inside of Derek Kidd. That's the teammate of Isaac Malkett for Mike Doty racing. Darren Kidd trying to go with them, or excuse me, Masinesco trying to go through as well. And a couple spots lost there for Darren Kidd. We always talk about it in 100cc racing with it being so freight train dependent. There's no such thing as a single position seemingly that's going to be lost here. The minute you're offline, the minute you get pushed wide or defend, that gap is going to be tried to be filled by someone else. And it can take a while, just like pack racing and NASCAR, to find another open gap.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's some of the fun things about watching and calling these races is, you know, the opportunity to watch the guys from behind come up, and then at the end of the race, you know, you're going to have a 10-car battle for the lead. But it also makes for some frustrating racing as a racer, thinking you're running a great race, and next thing you know, you go from 2nd to 6th and lost your momentum, and that gap continues on. But part of this whole package, and hats off to VLR for making very equal engines for everybody, and for the engine builders just to maximize the durability and the pace of these engines. And it shows. The racing's fantastic. Malcutt is on a level of his own right now with that 1.2-second lead over Katowski. Katowski's got his rear bumper pretty much filled up with Orioli. And then you got that gap back there to Murphy and Orbezo.
888 Dominic Moskalenko for Rocket Racing, the Canadian, running a single entry, I believe, here. I'm not sure if you remember if he was with us for rounds 1 and 2, but the Canadian coming down to run here in Palmetto. Getting a little bit of help behind from Luciano Dales. Handful of last-minute entries coming in. Dales certainly one of them. Again, the Costa Rican coming in. And Mike Rolson. Again, been a shockingly quiet season for RPG. One of the most well-known teams in North America.
On the East Coast, like, you know, done well throughout the country.
Oh, yeah.
No surprise. I mean, they're going to be perfectly fine, and that's a stacked team.
I think it's also just, simply put, being spread thin over the start of the season. Handful of different championships they're already committed to.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. Your resources are a little thin at that time when you're trying to cover multiple states, running multiple series. But you know, again, appreciate them coming here, helping support us, sponsoring our series as well. Hats off to Nash Motorsports as well for sponsoring our VLR Junior class here. But right now, let's see, Cam Johnson got passed by Fazzari, was up to 9th, now back to 10th. That's that second group that we see back there. Yep. Just kind of hoping that that front group's going to battle a little bit to allow them to catch up, because the times are pretty equal. So it wouldn't take much but a couple laps for that accordion effect, like we like to say, continues. And we can actually see some really good racing here for the final. But right now, pretty evenly spread out.
Really interesting as well, because Rolston Performance Group, based in the Pacific Northwest, you got Nash Motorsports as well, their HQ in Riverside, California. But a lot of these guys having their own resources and having a kind of branch or a hub, if you will, for the East Coast for their operations. I know Nash Motorsports having a trailer based in the Carolinas. I believe the same for Mike Rolston and their group somewhere along the East Coast. So a lot of these kind of bigger teams out on the West Coast, with how much racing, especially at this time of year, starts on the East Coast, whether it's Texas or Florida, kind of giving themselves an option to put their supplies elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's pretty smart to be able to almost run two different operations, an East Coast and a West Coast operation. That just try to mitigate as much cost as you possibly can in a sport that has a growing cost anyway.
Yep. 3 minutes on the clock, 2.2 seconds the gap. Isaac Malkut over Nico Katowski. Isaac Malkut again, one of the drivers who swept in Junior and GP in ROK Vegas last season. Looked really, really strong on race day Sunday. And looking to start the season off now with punching a ticket to Italy and Lonato for the ROK Super Final. Malkut third in GP Junior for the ROK Vegas final. Then victorious in VLR. It was Eric Doan for PSL who actually took that victory in GP Junior. But it was a 1-2, or excuse me, a 3-4 for Marco Samet and Isaac Malkut. Both of those guys getting it done for Mike Doty Racing and Brandon Jarsarak Racing. Great relationship between both of those tents. Obviously, both distributors for OTK, Ellen Cart specifically, and I believe that partnership extending into this year primarily for Malkut, who I believe will be bouncing between both teams depending on where he's running.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder now if Aiden Go was here, what's the situation would it could have been like what's our battle would have been.
Maxwell Macha was the Paralyn guy in contention this time by.
Okay.
And Go in the cadets.
Cadets, that's it. Sorry.
Macha coming into this season, or into this weekend, excuse me, 5th in the championship, but definitely could have been a team player here. But again, Paralyn, I believe, having some other commitments in other championships elsewhere and just not able to make the trek out to Palmetto. Tough to see. That's a Rocket Racing machine out. That looked like a Rocket. That might have been Jackson Elefante. Was that the 53? It might have been.
There was definitely a 3 in it. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but unfortunate for Jackson. Talked to Paul about that. Still kind of learning.
Yep.
You know, earning your time out there. I'm sure that team with what they have and the resources they have and just the knowledge that's underneath that tent. You know, we're going to see Jackson up there fighting for the top 5, fighting for podiums here very soon.
I believe his second season karting full-time and joining up with Dad and getting that opportunity. A little bit of a battle further back here, and this is the RPG of Luciano Dulhez and the Iron Rock Motorsports machine of Nico Orbezo. Orbezo looking to end this year on a high note. Ooh, big slide to the inside there to defend. As the timer's hit 0, it'll be the twin sticks out next time by for Isaac Malkut. And just behind, 888, Dominic Miskalenko for Rocket Racing. Unmarked, but that is with Rocket, that Tony Kart. And all of these guys just trying to end the championship on the highest of notes. Nico Katowski will likely have been kicking himself over what could have been as well. But again, just a completely transformed Burrell. Put him on the back foot for round number 2. And even if Orbezo, plain and simple, even if Orbezo were to win this race, or anyone else, it would have been 14th, the highest spot.
Oh, a little issue right there with an 888 and an 820. That's
Dallas with a slide, it looked like.
and Moskal.
I'm not sure if there was a slide. Muskalesko.
Looked like he got in the back of him. What it looked like coming in the straightaway. Yeah, I mean, this just tells you how important it is to have consistent finishes every round through the Florida Winter Tour stop. One bad event, like you talked about, snake bit, will cost you the championship, especially in these juniors and senior classes. That's all we have. But I mean, it really is like the competition's so close that, you know, what did he ended up a 7th?
Yeah.
And he's completely out of it. Like, it's crazy.
No drop round. And again, championship points increase round by round. Orbezo continuing to defend over Dales as we get to the white flag for Isaac Malkit, the 870 LN kart for Mike Doty Racing. Has not put a single wheel wrong this entire weekend. And the kid out of the Midwest, simply put, has not been able to be stopped. Orioli defending from Murphy into the run to the end. But Isaac Malkit ended 2025 as a VLR champ in Vegas. He'll start it off as a VLR Junior champ in the Florida Winter Tour. Katowski home in second. Orioli recovers for P3. They'll drag race further back, Orbezo and Dulles. Orbezo just barely 46 hundredths, able to beat him out. Dominic Musselnesco, Marco Fazzari, Darren Kidd, and Cameron Johnson able to recover just into the top 10 to round out your final race of the 2026 Florida Winter Tour. Jason, it just feels like yesterday we started talking tail end of January. That went fast.
That was very fast. Absolutely. You know, it's been a great season. Loved being involved in this. Loved calling these races. It's been great to see these kids develop. It's been great, the relationships that we've got to build with the teams and with the drivers, and look forward to Vegas.
We look forward to it. And again, this place has been special almost exactly a year ago. Both of us making our debut, at least at the national level, on the mic. And after kind of spending a majority of the year, myself getting to cover the sport across America, you kind of begin to realize just how special not just this league is, but this group of people. And for so many, you get the feeling that ROK Cup is the launch pad for the season, but more than anything, it's home. And with that, it's time for the ROK Cup drivers to venture out from home to the regular season. For Cole Anderson and many of the SoCal and NorCal guys, it's back to the Bay Area for a season of ROK Sonoma. For those coming from outside of the states, it's back home for running at the national scale, whether it's Kart Stars or ROK Canada up north or south of the Panama, one of the many South American championships. And for most, it's packing their bags and jumping over the Atlantic to run at ROK Super Finals. But sooner than you think, we'll be back to the Rio Casino in the Strip for our final round. For everybody at ROK Cup USA and JLC, alongside Jason Ewers, my name is Jackson Lambros. The path has been set for the 9th running of ROK Vegas at Rio Casino on October 28th. We'll see you there for ROK Vegas 9.